Everybody get it out.
So that was like a Carlos noise. All right.
That was very Carlos. Carlos-esque.
That was very Carlos-esque. Hello, everybody. Oh. Hello, everybody. Welcome to...
Hey, guys.
God damn it. Can I fucking do this intro? Hello, everybody. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. It's episode 482. It is December 7th, 2016. My name is Nick Henderson, and to my right is Brad Simons,
Yo.
Nolan Hedstrom,
How's it going, everybody?
and Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
It's, what a time to be alive, guys.
Yeah, it's
we're-
fucking wonderful.
We're playing...
Yeah.
We're playing Final Fantasy 15 and The Last Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
That's so fucking weird.
And at least one of them's a good game.
Oh, shit. Is this going to be one of those conversations?
Oh, shit.
I don't think he likes...
What? You get, okay, this is the podcast. Brad, this is the podcast.
No,
That's
he's
the
busy
cliffhanger.
reading.
Now we gotta wait.
All right, well, we're going to
Maybe
talk...
we should start with the crappy Last Guardian. I mean, Nolan, what do you think?
Pretty sure that's not how this show works.
Oh.
All right. Let's... thank you, Nolan. That's not how this show works.
Yeah.
We're gonna start things off with some feedback. I do want to briefly mention, because I haven't done it the past couple episodes, but I want to start off by saying, if you have not yet joined our Discord... It's out there. It's free. Join it. It's discord.gg/4player. Anyone can join. So please check that out if you're interested. What is Chris Davis asking me? I already introduced everybody.
Dude, just ignore Chris Davis.
You're now
Just keep
talking
going.
to Chris Davis.
Chris,
on
I
the
know. He's
podcast.
trying to talk to me through text. and
Chris
it's
Davis
weird.
isn't paying attention is what's happening.
It's very strange. Anyways, before we start, like I said, we're going to talk more about Final Fantasy 15. We're going to talk about The Last Guardian. I do want to briefly mention some feedback from our last episode. We actually had quite a bit of it. So, and like I say every week, if there's anything that we talk about during this podcast that you'd like to chime in on or leave your thoughts on, just leave a comment on the site at 4playernetwork.com and we'll get around to reading it on the next episode. So our first piece of feedback this week comes from Punch Drunk. We all know Punch Drunk, right? He says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I second that you should all try The Division again. There is someone...
Again?
No, well, someone last week during the Patreon question said, remember we were joking about being Chris Davis's dad?
Well, I'm saying I didn't try it the first time.
Oh, that's true. None of us really tried it the first time. He says, my group recently picked it back up after all these updates, and it really is a fun game to play with the group. So yes, I agree with Chris Davis on that. The Division came out at a great time. There wasn't much around it, and if it released then as it exists now, I have a feeling a lot more people would have kept playing it.
I mean, that's a situation with a lot of games.
That's the world we live in now.
Yeah, the games come out too early.
Games rarely come out at their peak, right? I don't know if I'm necessarily... Maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll try The Division.
No, you won't.
Don't you sit here and lie to us.
Once I get through
Yeah.
my
You
backlog
will
of 40
never play
games.
The Division.
Chris Davis tried to give it to me for a penny, and I still didn't try.
No.
Didn't try it. So I don't know. Maybe
You are lying to these people.
You're right. You're right. Maybe I am. There's too many games. There's too many fucking games. Vandal says, as someone who hasn't played the recent Final Fantasy, he's talking about 15, the casting looks like the most boring to date. Is there anything redeeming about these 4 calendar models? How do they compare to other Final Fantasy casts, in your opinion?
They seem pretty cool.
I think from an outsider's perspective, having not
they
played
look
the game,
real dumb.
they look real dull.
And that's
Dumb.
what everyone's opinions were going into this game.
Yeah.
Before anyone knew anything about the characters, everyone just assumed. And, standing by that, I still don't think they look good. I still think they
Outfits are terrible.
Yeah, the outfits aren't good. They they're very generic looking. Like there's nothing special about them. And I think they kind of tried to do that. I'm more like it's a weird kind of, the game tries to be down to earth but also fantasy at the same. Like they drive around in a fucking like an Audi or whatever it is.
It's weird because
Yeah,
I think I may have said this last week, but this game more than any Final Fantasy before, it feels similar to the game that it's like most recent predecessor. Like Final Fantasy 13 was a game that I was like, okay, Final Fantasy to me has always been more fantastical than this.
Yeah.
And this feels a little too close to home. And I feel like this is even more so in that direction.
The problem is those characters don't seem like they're from the same
Universe?
world as the
game.
player space you're inhabiting. Where she's just normal people in normal clothes, sitting on Coleman chairs.
But when it's not, and then when it's not normal people in normal clothes, it like looks cool.
But
Like the enemy shit, like I think looks really cool. Like the architecture of Insomnia looks really cool. Like everything that isn't those four characters
What a weird world.
looks cool. And then those guys look like suck.
Well, here's the thing. I think the distinction.
Literally,
But
I think
everyone else
the big-
shops at Academy.
I think the big distinction between the characters and the rest of the world that you're inhabiting for most of the game is that you're playing as royalty, quote unquote. So like they
can afford leather.
well they dress more. They're more
Only they
eccentric
get
in the
to
way
shop
they
at Hot
dress.
Topic.
I guess.
One guy just wears like a vest with no shirt.
I mean, yeah, that's true. most people in that world seem to really
Dude, you come across a guy who gives you quests who's wearing like a big T-shirt and like
Flip-flops.
like flip flops and like
the dichotomy between the
It's
characters.
so weird too.
you're playing
There's one character at some point in the game who's like something happens in the story, and like everyone's talking about him, but also referring to each other. You have like Gladio and Prompto and the Regalia and Jared.
yeah. That is true. There's a character named Jared.
It's so weird
Yeah.
when those two worlds combine.
Yeah, it's a little strange. I think that's probably one of the most jarring things about this game.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would necessarily compare it to previous Final Fantasies because they're all.
Well, it's like you were saying, like all the previous Final Fantasies, especially the last several, have been so fantastical.
Yeah.
You know, like look at the fucking outfits from 12.
Yeah.
Like look at the shit they wear in that. Like it's very like insane. And like look at like Fran. Her
but everybody
outfit
in
is
the
very-
world dressed like that.
Well, no, that's
So
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Every Final Fantasy in the past,
Yeah.
at least the past several, I mean, the older ones and their sprites, you couldn't really tell as much.
Yeah.
But like they've been always so fantastical, and now they're wearing like leather pants, and it's just really weird.
I think my biggest disappointment with the cast of like 13 and this game is that like since 2 games in a row where we haven't had a single non-human main character
that's true.
in your party. Like even 12 had.
Well, there's that's the thing. There's not non-human people in the world, really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's not like other races that you're either like killing them or they're people.
Yeah.
Like there's no like sentient being like
Monsters and people,
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. In something like 12, where you have like I don't remember that the Fran. What were those people called? The
bunnies.
The bunnies.
bunny peoples. And you had like the fucking
Bunny folk.
yeah, and then you had
bunny
like the
folks.
alligator looking guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You had all these other fucking races that you interact. And think of 10.
Think
like,
of
like,
9.
even,
Think
But even this game 15 has robots.
well, yeah, it has
Like, they
robots.
coulda had, like,
But
a
that
Fuck
is
is
the closest.
Kimari? I don't know.
But like the last game in the series that was even close to this, where there wasn't any other like sentient races, I think was 8. I can't remember any.
Yeah, correct.
non-human
8
races
in 8. Well, some of the Guardian forces you interact with are like they're not just
but
enemies.
that's not like a-
I know what you're saying. They're not in your party. All of your party and all of the main people in that game are humanoids. Yes.
Yeah. So it's just kind of weird. I'm hoping like this. A lot of this also stems from the fact this was originally a 13 game.
Correct.
And they kind of spun it out into something different, but it
But
kept
look
a lot
at,
of the same
look at
stuff.
13. They dressed so fantastically. Like their
But they were all
outfits
human.
were so. I know they were all human, but I'm saying like look at their outfits. They were at least like weird and fucking like creative, not like leather shirts and pants.
You know who looked cool? Everybody in Kingsglaive. And that's in the same fucking world.
All right, we've been on this topic too long. Let's
True.
do more feedback and then
more
maybe
feedback
we'll talk about
from Self Torment. Great
wanna
pod.
rant
He says-
about this a little
He
more.
says
We'll get there.
Well, we'll talk more about Final Fantasy 15 in a few minutes. Self Torment says, "Great podcast, guys.
Well, thank
Just
you.
wanted to hear what you guys think of the Death Stranding trailer. It had a tank in it. You all saw it. I will say this: we're going to talk about Death Stranding. I think
the
in the
news.
second segment because
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff coming out of PSX
in the Game Awards.
and the Game Awards that we're going to talk about. So we'll get to that.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Next one comes from Lil Corks.
Little corpse.
Lil Corks. Just a random question, but have any of you played the PS2 RPG Lord of the Rings: The Third Age? Holy crap! I first played it when I was 13, and it blew my titties off.
Jesus.
What RPG blew your titties off?
Not that one.
By the way, love the podcast, you sexy beast.
You know, I
Fuck
wanted
put on
that to
me.
be good, but it seems
Legends
so
of
generic.
Dragoon.
He
blew
was
my titties
13
off.
when he played it, and fuck you, Nolan. Fuck you. Legend of Dragoon.
Hey, I played that game.
Legend
when I
of
was
Dragoon
13.
did blow my titties off. It's one of the few RPGs in my life that I've played multiple times. So
I mean,
at
That
the
just
time,
sounds like
I
bad life
think
choices.
I think we've kind of talked about this before. Definitely, people have asked about our favorite RPGs, and my first RPG was Final Fantasy VIII. That was my first.
my
RPG.
first RPG. In fact, one of the first major games, like hardcore games that I like played outside of like Mario Kart or whatever, was Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it had to be a Final Fantasy for
My
sure.
first Final Fantasy was 4.
Well, that's because you're
Did it blow your
85
titties
years
off?
old, Brad.
Well, I mean, actually, a lot of people my age would probably say, see, I didn't have an NES growing up.
Because it was before your time.
No, it wasn't.
Wait, sorry. It was... Yeah.
All my friends had NESs.
He was already in college.
Yeah, there you go. He was too old for an NES.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. We just didn't have one because my parents didn't really believe in that stuff, I guess. I don't know.
They didn't believe it.
I mean, people born in the 20s usually don't.
So a lot of people my age actually played some Final Fantasy 1 back in the day, but I didn't. Because remember, 4 was actually 2. So I guess technically the second Final Fantasy game was my first Final Fantasy. It would just happen to be 4.
Okay.
Weird.
What is the question?
What RPG blew your titties off when you were younger?
This is supposed to be feedback.
Well, he did. He was commenting on something we talked about last time.
Just
It
to
did kinda morph it into
eschew
a question.
all the Final Fantasy talk, my first RPG that I completed and fell in love with was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Fuck you, fuck you, and fuck you.
It's a good answer, Crispy. It's a good.
That was a
answer.
fine game.
You're defensive about
That was a
KOTOR.
fine game.
That's,
Anyway, more feedback.
if you're defensive about KOTOR, you're defensive
Our last
about-
piece of feedback comes from Piosht.
I didn't say Suikoden.
After getting around to actually watching Kingsglaive, I'm actually way more interested in playing Final Fantasy 15. I'm glad that both Final Fantasy 15 and The Last Guardian got solid scores after being in development for so long. Hopefully the next game from each of these studios doesn't go through so much development trouble. I'm surprised you said Kingsglaive, because I feel like but out of the two things you could watch prior to playing Final Fantasy, at least I watched both of them in the same, like one night I watched both of them.
Brotherhood,
and
I don't think was as well advertised as Kingsglaive.
True.
If you buy like the collector's edition of Final Fantasy, it comes with Kingsglaive,
Yeah,
not
remember,
Brotherhood.
but they announced it at that big Final Fantasy 15 event.
I understand they did, but I'm just saying
It wasn't even in English. It
Yeah,
was
that's what
in
I'm saying.
German.
When have you
Oh,
heard
yeah.
about it since, though? You know what I'm saying? Like
they did show Kingsglaive in theaters. It's kind of a shame because I think of those two things, I think
Yeah.
Brotherhood does a better job of kind of hyping up or at least
Yeah, it's a
fleshing out those.
completely different kind of story.
Yeah, but it's
Brotherhood is also steeped in anime cliches.
yes,
Yeah.
Like
that is true.
it's fine.
I don't
but-
even like to watch anime per se, really. And I watched Brotherhood and I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I watched
Anime's nice in small doses.
I watched Kingsglaive. I thought it was a really like technically.
y'all realize like 4/5 of our listeners love anime.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, y'all
Yeah, I
hating
know.
on
I know.
anime.
I'm not hating on it. I
I'm-
personally don't like it. Don't like watching it very often. I mean, not that I won't. They just announced that Dragon Ball Super is going to be airing on Toonami in January. I'm probably going to watch that.
Oh, you consider that anime?
Fuck yes, I do. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck yes.
Well, I've actually watched Dragon Ball Super.
Fuck you. I'm just kidding.
Fuck you.
Okay.
And fuck you.
And fuck you.
I forgot where I was going with that.
I've seen Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
Wow.
I've seen both of those too. Fuck you. Fuck
I've
you.
seen
Fuck you.
I've done-
Anyways, the point is, I watched both of them, and it's just if I had to pick one going into Final Fantasy 15, I'd recommend.
You
Brotherhood.
have to watch Kingsglaive. You
Yeah,
can't,
no,
you
no,
can't
sad
play that
thing.
game
You
without
That's the
watching
sad
have to
thing.
pick Kingsglaive.
That is the sad thing. You have to watch Kingsglaive,
sad. No.
or you're going to be missing out.
Brotherhood does not add that much to the experience because you get some background stuff in the game. Kingsglaive is a must.
So yes, I would say
and that's what I'm saying. Is
if
I
you
fucking
aren't
hate
feeling
that.
the characters, then yes, watch Brotherhood because that gives you a greater detail on their history and their backstory. But yes, I would also say that in my opinion, Kingsglaive is a necessary watch before playing this game, mainly because, like I said in the first podcast we talked about Final Fantasy 15, they reference it a lot, but in such a way that it's more
They're vague about it.
confusing than helpful.
They made Kingsglaive like a movie that they released in theaters because they didn't want to have to tack on an hour and a half cutscene to the beginning of the game,
Yeah.
which is how that story is structured to play out. Like,
and honestly, that's what I'm kind of disappointed about because I watched Kingsglaive. It's a technical master. It's a technical marvel. It's a really well
Yes, it does
made
look
movie.
amazing,
Looks
yes.
amazing. I even like the main character. A
Yes.
few of the main characters, but as far as like
The story
it
in this thing
it devolves into this like really fucking over the top action shit show at the end of it, which is not what I play Final Fantasy for. I don't. I had the same problem with Advent Children, where by the end of it, fucking Cloud can fly and he's like
Advent
flying.
Children was cool.
It looked cool, but
Like
it
his
was
sword broke apart and everything.
But that shit was cool.
That was cool.
Oh god,
liked
but it was not what
They
I
actually
loved.
had
Final,
materia in
the shitty thing is, like, I played Final Fantasy 7 first, obviously, and then watched Advent Children, and I have all these like very crystal clear memories of 7 and like how I envisioned it, and then they just totally went and just turned like animated.
They had
Anime-fied
already
it or
started
whatever.
doing that to Final Fantasy VII. You know, you
Hey,
had
have you-
Dirge of Cerberus.
Have you played
Yeah, which I
Final Fantasy
completely
VII? That's
ignored.
kind of an anime-y game, just
Yeah,
in like,
but, like-
computer graphics.
But
We're
have
talking
you
about
seen
Final
Cloud's
Fantasy.
hair and his sword?
I'm more referring to the action just being
Okay.
too over the top
Well, they,
and just.
you know, Nick, they couldn't do that in Final Fantasy VII.
I'm glad
they wanted to.
I think it was better game for it.
Have you
Okay.
seen Omni Slash?
In Omni Slash, though, he doesn't even leave the ground.
Have
He
you
just fucking
seen Red
slashes.
13?
He's like in space during Omni Slash.
That's just in his brain. It's in his...
Probably.
It's just a ghost of space.
I'm so edgy. I'm in space.
You've clearly never,
It's just a ghost, and he's on revenge to kill Space's killer.
You've
Maybe
never
I'm thinking
seen-
of Lionheart. Squall's definitely in space
Oh, yeah,
when
Squall
he's
is.
doing Lionheart.
Okay.
You've never seen Final Fantasy VI, where one of the characters can suplex a train.
Yeah, that's true.
He suplexes a train.
feel like
That would look good in CG in 2016.
I just feel like
That'd be dope as fuck.
I feel
It'd be
like-
Goku. "Argh."
I feel like in my brain, like what I like my vision in my brain of what Final Fantasy is just dramatically different than what.
You know what? What you are talking about is a very important thing that where back then coolness was so abstracted. You know, like it didn't matter what they were saying they were doing or what they were doing because it just looked like little sprites or little rough polygons. And in your mind, and there was no voice acting. So in your mind, it was the coolest thing in the fucking world, right? But then all of a sudden technology improved and they started talking and moving around these spaces in real time and you're like, "Oh, is this what I liked when I was younger?" It really was what they were, probably what the creators were. It's probably what was in the creators' head when they were making Final Fantasy VII back in the day. The technology just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is why a lot of people kind of fell off JRPGs because it's starting to get a little awkward.
It's starting to get. You might be on.
You know,
something
Tidus,
there.
when he started, his name was Tidus.
No, it's not. You're a liar.
But that's the thing.
You're a
No
liar.
one told us how to say Cecil or Cecil back when Final Fantasy IV came out. But all of a sudden, people started saying Tidus and Aerith out loud, and it's like, oh God.
Ugh. But that's like the creator of GIF saying GIF. He's just wrong. So it's not Tidus, it's Titus. Fuck you.
Right? Right?
Yes.
Aerith.
Tidus. Like in this game, there's the fucking girl named Iris.
Iris.
Ah,
yeah.
it makes me want to rip a cat.
it's not
that's
Iris?
bad. No, it's Iris.
Iris.
No, they say
Yeah, it's
They
spelled
say it a
Iris.
lot.
Yeah,
I
but-
guess I just blocked it out of
Iris.
because I've met her obviously and I've talked to her.
It's true. You do fight a boss underwater holding your breath. If you don't have underwater materia. And there's a timer. You can hold your breath for 20
They had
minutes.
one of those things they put in their mouth that lets them breathe. It's
Nope.
Like,
They're holding their breath.
shut the fuck up.
Because when the timer runs out, you drown.
A rebreather.
Anyway, that's
Fuck
all the
you,
feedback.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Okay. Thank you for your feedback, guys. If there's anything that we talk about today you want to chime in, just leave a comment on 4playernetwork.com on the post for this episode, and we'll get to it at the start of next week's show. So, where do you want to begin? Because we got some big games.
Well, do we want to do the new one or do we want to do the old one first?
I've been
There's
playing
two
a
new
one.
ones. Sorry. Do you want to do
the big one? We've been in the habit of starting
Yeah.
with the big one, so I think we should continue that trend.
Let's do Final Fantasy 15 later.
Okay.
Because we've been talking about it all show
Yeah,
already.
that's true.
All right, then let's open with. So, who here has been playing The Last Guardian? I know no one
Can I
played
leave
some
the
last
room?
night.
Can Chris Davis come in here?
Have you not played it?
No, I'm
I'm not going to spoil
I've been on
anything.
media blackout for this thing, and I don't even want to look at the footage.
I'm not going to spoil. The footage I have is literally from like
This is
the
an
first
important-
like 20 minutes.
This is an important conversation.
So in
I
my
feel like.
opinion,
But I've
it's-
not played it.
It's not spoilery. The thing is, and it's kind of what I'm going to get into. It's a lot of me being confused.
And I'm not far enough to really spoil much.
How much have
story.
you played?
About 2 hours, but not.
Did you get the bird dog yet?
Yeah,
You get the bird dog.
you
in
get the bird
first,
dog
like,
immediately.
like 5 minutes.
don't
If
want-
Well, the footage is roll. This is literally the fucking start of the game.
no, this is like 10 minutes in. I promise you, Nick. It's 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, I know. Okay, that's
So
it.
anyway, let's talk about The Last Guardian. If I could describe this game in a single word, it would be frustrating. If I could describe it in 2 words, it would be frustrating and disappointing.
Oh my god! Really?
So hold on, I
could use those
knew
same
it.
2 words to describe my life with Hyde.
I was following Nick's Twitter feed from last
my God,
night, and he was having a completely opposite
Complete
experience.
opposite
from me.
reaction from
I
me.
knew all the 9s and 10s were too good to be true. I knew it because
So hold on.
fucking people.
No.
These
This
fucking
is,
people.
There are going to be 2 very different kinds of people who play
I
this
didn't
game.
trust them. I didn't
No,
trust
no.
the 10s at all.
Listen to me.
At all.
Listen to me for a second. There are going to be 2 very different kinds of people, I think, who played this game. There are going to be people. So one
have
thing
a heart.
one thing they've talked about for a very long time at this game is that Trico, the animal, does not listen to every command you give it because they want him to behave more like an actual animal.
So the funny thing is,
the
okay,
point is,
continue.
the 2 different kinds of people are going to be the people who are okay with that, and the people I think who are not okay with that because they want it to be a game. They want it to respond to what they're telling him to, what you're telling it to do.
So and that's what I talked about with chat last night. And we talked about that for a while, about how, it's supposed to be an animal and it's supposed to, it doesn't always listen to your instructions, is what they were saying.
Yeah.
And my response was, I think their AI is just bad and that's their excuse.
Well, you know what? What? Yorda sucked ass too, and there was 2
Yorda
kinds of
did.
people. People who thought Yorda was a dumb hoe who should get thrown off a cliff, and people who loved Yorda.
So hold on. I'm 4.5 hours into this game. My biggest frustration with that, Nick, is I don't know. So yeah. Okay, maybe he's not listening to me, but I don't even know if he has registered that I've given him a command. That is the frustrating thing with me. And there's, if you watch, I would like you to watch some of my playthrough from last night once you get past it, and watch when I was having my frustrations.
Okay.
While yes, it was multiple times when I couldn't understand why he wasn't listening to me. Like there was one point where I had to get a chain that was high up in the air, and I had to get on his head, and he would kind of do this, and I could get on the chain, and he did it once.
Yeah.
I tried for 10 minutes to get him to do it again. That is not an exaggeration on time. And chat was like, maybe he didn't actually do that. And all of a sudden, he just fucking randomly did it again. And like, I was like, I don't understand why he's, I don't understand. Is it he's just not wanting to listen to me, or the game doesn't understand what I'm trying to tell him to do? And then like, my biggest frustration with this is they try to make it immersive. Think like Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, where there is no guidance. They kind of just, almost like they guide you. They nudge you. They do a very good job of early on forcing you to do something.
Yeah.
Like literally put you in a linear hallway where you can only do one thing, and that trains you. I can only do this. There you go. I figured this out. Now later on, when I'm in an open area and I see something similar to that, I remember doing this before. Let me do that. My frustrations with this game is that yes, it revolves around a AI companion who doesn't always do what you need him to do, but sometimes there was one part of the game where I was in an open area and I was lost. I was like, what am I supposed to do here? I don't understand. I ran around for several minutes. It turns out I had to be in a specific area, wait for him to follow me over there, and do something to get him to do something. I'd already been over that area multiple times, but I didn't do it in such a way that it would progress. And it's that confusion and not understanding when this is supposed to happen and why.
But I've ended up in 2 situations where he did something that was supposed to, and one of them was trying to get up here to get through that little hole, right? Where you can stand on his head and he'll walk over there and you can jump onto the ledge and get through there. And then, but I missed my opportunity. I think I fell off or something.
Yeah.
I missed the jump. So he laid down and I was like, well, great. How do I get him to stand back up again? But he laid, this has happened twice where I missed my chance to do initially what they wanted me to do, and then he laid down or he did something else, but it kind of made it
obvious that you had to get on it.
But I stood back on his back, and then where he laid, the way he laid down, I was able to stand on his back and still jump up to get to where I was supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not as far as you yet, so there might be still some scenarios where that frustration comes into play. But to me, I am just completely enthralled with watching. I think this fucking animal behaves. I've never seen anything in a video game behave or act like this.
Fucking conversation, this is forever Team Eco's struggle.
No,
because what Nolan sounds like he's describing, if he opened this conversation and instead of Last Guardian, he was talking about some of the Colossuses in Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
About getting them to do things like,
Sometimes you had to get
how
them
come
to
the
go
fucking horse is not going over to the hole, you know? Like, what the fuck do I do here? How do I get the Colossus to do this one thing that will let me get into this position to get up to a later part of his body or even get on the fucking thing? I mean, that's... It's obvious after 3 games now, or, you know, all this shit with Yorda, that it's either, like... Whether they have the ability to not have it be like that or not, I feel like it is a conscious choice they have to be making at this point, to where that they would rather it be, you know, figuring out what to do and how to do it as part of the experience, and they don't care if maybe some people don't have the patience for that, because this is the 3rd game that can be described like that from Team Ico.
So let me. I had a pretty aggravated, and I don't usually get that frustrated when I play games. If you look at all my past streams, I don't often get that frustrated. I was livid when I was playing this last night because of, in what my opinion is, very poor design choices in the game. There was one instance when they first, I mean, everyone knows that there's like enemies in this game to some extent. I don't know to what extent. I'm not going to spoil anything, Brad, I promise. I was introduced to an enemy in the game. When it happened when I was walking down a hallway. So I booked it down the hallway, and it like kind of dead ends, and there's like this weird kind of alcove that you can, and I'm like, oh, when I got up to it, it's like, press this button to climb over. So I'm trying to climb over, and like, I keep trying this one thing, and I keep trying, and it's not working, and I keep trying and failing, and it turns out I was doing the wrong thing. I wasn't supposed to be doing that. I was supposed to be doing something else. But the problem was, there was like a light at the end of the hallway, like the game was guiding me this way.
Is that the room with the alcove with the chain hanging at the end of the... Okay.
The game, in my opinion, was guiding me to go that way. It turns out I was supposed to be at the very opposite end. I didn't know that.
See, the weird thing is, like... You're right, because I did that, but I just happened to go...
the other way.
Underneath the thing, right?
Okay.
Which is where you're supposed to go. First, before I ran down that hallway. And he comments on, like... to avoid those things. And... I just happened to not, so that situation ended up being less frustrating.
Nick, for me, that was almost a 15-minute situation where I was trying to do something, and I was fucking livid. And afterwards, there's supposed to be a like a sentimental, like kind of like, you know, oh, the creature so whatever, but I was just so livid that I didn't care. Like, I almost feel like my experience of this game was lessened because of how frustrated I was in that situation. Another instance is so in my opinion, what they could have done, you know, like I said, there's like a balcony right there.
Yeah.
If that balcony, which has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, you don't do anything on
If that wasn't there, that I would have been through that situation like that.
But
But because it made it seem like I had to go that way, I've tried and I tried and I tried for like 15 minutes, and I kept failing, and that just was so... And like I said, if that wouldn't have been there, would have been easy.
I think
you're saying it's not just your struggles controlling Trico, it's also that like the world design is very obfuscated and confusing.
Okay, is it possible
the world is not built in such... I don't think the world was necessarily designed and built in such a way to only exist to lead the player in a certain direction. It almost feels like it was built... It was just a world that was built, and you were there. And
yes.
Is it possible? Going off what that he's saying there, their last game came out in 2006. Is it possible that Team Ico wants the player to have to figure this shit out? Like that's...
No, it probably is. And so hold on, going based off that, later on, I had another frustrating sequence where I had to get to one place, and because I spent so much fucking time there, I learned that there was like 12 different ways I could get from point A to point B. But once I got to point B, there was only one way to get to point C. There was only one way. And I could not find that thing. The thing is, it like trails off and you have to go down some ledge. And I didn't realize that at the end of that ledge, there was a hole that the player character could barely fit through, and I had to crawl into that hole. I didn't see it. You know, the camera was at such an angle that I didn't see it, and I was like, well, this is a dead end. So I spent 20 minutes running around I'm like, that's a dead end. I can't go that way.
That reminds me of Ocarina of Time.
What could have fixed that situation is instead of there being a hole, there being a ledge you crawl up onto, and then there being a hole. That would have negated, once again, my entire frustrations. And I don't understand why they didn't, like, maybe
Well, I think one thing you bring up, and this is like the one complaint I have with the game so far is its camera.
Oh god, the camera, yeah, it's
The camera,
so frustrating.
The camera
at times.
can be hard to wrangle.
Can you actually rotate it?
You can,
Yes.
yeah, you can rotate it.
Or
It's
is it
not-
like the Eco?
No, you can free rotate.
You can free rotate it. It's not super responsive, but you can also hold L1 and it will focus on Trico. So no matter where he is in relation to you, it always center the camera back on him, so you can watch which I think is mostly just so you can kind of follow what he's doing and you can look at him, because they obviously want you to see and like react to him. But that's obviously, I also use that a lot to kind of regain control of the camera, because sometimes it goes crazy. I don't know where I'm looking. I don't know where I should be looking. So I use that to kind of like recenter and regather my, figure out where I am standing exactly, because the camera is just not super responsive, which kind of sucks. Also, I think the controls for like the character you are playing as are a little sloppy,
Loose?
but they've always been loose. They're all, like it doesn't act. He honestly doesn't control any worse necessarily than any other Team Eco game.
No, yeah,
it's
he's
just one of
very
those things you. It's been so long though since I've played a Team Eco game that it's kind of you have to kind of reacquaint yourself with it.
It sounds like Team Eco fans are trying to make excuses, but I think at this point it's not even an excuse. It's just the way it is. I think Team Eco fans just don't care.
No, coming off of that, yes, Brad.
What
I
happened
agree-
to his neck?
Yeah, I agree with that statement. Yeah, no, like I'm talking with chat last night, and I was like, one of my things is I don't know how much this game was play tested, because
Well, they only had 10 years.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like the whole point of playtesting a game is to break it. Find the ways to break it. Find the ways that people get confused and don't understand. Because when you develop a game, you know where the player's supposed to go. It's obvious to you. But when you show it to someone else, it might not be as obvious as you thought it was. And I think there have been multiple circumstances in this game where I was very confused as to what I was supposed to be doing. And I feel like they could have easily fixed that by, like I said, just very, very small changes that could have made it very obvious what I was supposed to do.
I'm going to be playing with Malia, so I hope that maybe having another person there.
No, I think definitely. I think having someone else's eyes on it would probably help. Another frustrating, and I know it's kind of silly, but I don't understand the controls. They're kind of weird.
You mean
like
for the boy?
Yeah, like
Triangle to jump?
Triangle to jump. I
Yeah,
really
there
don't
you go.
like
That's
that.
a good cookie.
You know it is, and I just the menu.
Do you have a grip meter?
No, thank God. You don't have to hold to grip.
No, but I like that. Is there an option?
No, there's no. So as soon as you start crawling on the creature, you're just on him until you press drop off, which later on you'll understand why you like that.
Yeah.
But it's the triangle to jump is weird.
Has always been.
Yeah, no, it always been, and it's just when you go into the menu, there's like 4 things.
Yeah.
There
are not a lot of options
in the menus to do anything.
I'm kind of disappointed that no one and I are the only who've played it so far, because I
Well, I mean, I
thought.
gameplayed
Well,
it.
I know, but like I was expecting a bigger part of the conversation to honestly be the difference between playing the PS4 Pro versus the regular.
And the only thing I've heard to that
Frame rate,
regard,
from
Nick,
what I
is just the
understand.
fact that the PS4 regular does have a lot of frame rate issues.
Yeah,
and I've run into one instance in my 4.5 hours where the frame rate dropped to like 25. Like
the
it
Pro?
wasn't even on the Pro, and it wasn't a big drop. But other than that, at least on the Pro, I've run into no issues.
Yeah, I've been
I mean,
playing on the Pro, and it runs pretty.
I
fucking
saw
smooth, but-
the analysis, the Eurogamer or whatever that they always do.
Yeah.
It just, for the most part, it's not like, I mean, some people were posting clips of it like frame rate glitches or whatever. But from what I understand, it's more that the PS4 version of the game is just it doesn't run at 30 all the time. It's more like 27 all the time. And then it drops in places, but it's not like people are making it sound like it's like unplayable or something, but
It's definitely not.
Is it less than 30?
I don't.
Yes.
Then it's unplayable.
Well, yeah. But I'm saying I feel like it's consistently less than 30, but just a little bit. So hopefully it's not too bad. But I'll let you know after I play it. But, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a big part of the conversation.
So, I mean, I've been fairly negative on it. I will say that the last, like, hour and a half, I actually started enjoying myself. I was having less issues. I started the AI. So the AI started becoming less of an issue because I was in areas where he didn't need to be an issue. Does that make sense? Like I wasn't reliant on him as much in some things. If y'all remember from there was like one promo they showed of this where like the character jumps off something and he misses the jump and then Trico catches him, whatever.
That's a cutscene, right?
Yeah, it's a cutscene. The thing is, that happened to me once, not in a cutscene. And it was this fucking epic moment of this entire set piece was going on. Not like a cutscene, just shit was going on. And I fucked something up, and I fell, and his tail just happened to be there, and I grabbed it, and it was fucking amazing.
There's a trophy for catching his tail or something a certain number of times.
Okay, but it's still.
So like, I think they've designed it in such a way that they give you opportunities to kind of recreate that moment because that was a pretty awesome.
But no, like I said, like it wasn't like I don't think the AI was like, oh, he's falling, I'm gonna move the tail there.
Yeah,
it just happened to be that I was falling and his tail happened to be there.
Yeah,
and it was a fucking epic moment.
He didn't move his tail there.
No, he did not move his tail. It just happened to be there as I was falling because, like I said, it was this big set piece that was going on. Not a cutscene, just like shit was going on. And then I fucked something up. Like I was confused. I was like, wait, what? And then I fell. And then like I said, like thankfully his tail was there.
So, as Nolan mentioned, I was live tweeting this last night as I was playing it.
Yeah.
Not having, I mean, like he's twice as far as I am essentially at this point. Mm-hmm. So, frustrations may crop up. My early impressions of it though were actually way more positive. Mm-hmm. Predominantly just because, like, I straight up, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this animal in a game. Period.
I agree. Yeah, like the AI is
just watching him. I just love watching him walk around and look like there's like.
Have you thrown a barrel in his mouth?
You throwing the barrel, like feeding him the barrels and like getting to the point where it's like, do I just drop it in front of him? Do I throw it at him? Like if you get too close to him with the barrel, he'll like knock you over with his nose, and just like. Like I had like you know that feeling like that expression you make when you like maybe if you're like a dog lover and you see a dog and you're like, oh, it's a dog, I fucking love dogs. That's like I had that.
We don't have a phrase for that in English, but they do have a phrase for that in Tagalog, and it's called giggle.
I was giggle.
That is because we don't have a word for it, but that's what they use that word for when you have that kind of like.
I was tweeting all the moments last night when I was just playing this game and I was watching Trico like walk around and do things where I was just like, oh my god, it's fucking adorable. I fucking love this
Bernadette
creature.
Likes to describe it as when she loves something so much, like a small animal, that she just wants to crush it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just want to just crush it until it dies.
And so I agree with you on that. They're definitely, like I said, later on,
like when he tries to he'll try to follow you. You'll go through like a small door and he'll try to follow you through the door and get his head stuck, and then he starts to panic. Like that kind of shit is it's all over the place, and I love it. But I'm there and kind of picking up on the cues. Like sometimes like you'll have to sit there and like you'll get up on a ledge somewhere, and you're like, well, how is he gonna get up here? And you kind of have to watch like the way he moves his head and what he's looking at, and then kind of move yourself into position and then call him and see if he'll like follow you up, like that kind of stuff. And try like I feel like they do a really good job of building a relationship between the player and this character. Like I was 30 minutes in and I was like, I can already tell you I'm gonna fucking cry like a baby at the end of this game if this keeps up, because I think the animal is actually really well. In fact, I feel like probably one of the biggest challenges in the development of this game is probably getting that fucking thing to be. I've never seen a thing move like that in a game. Like the whatever you want to call it, AI or whatever, is just it's super lifelike, and I've never seen that before. So thought that was really cool. I'm really excited to play more of it. I can't really say much more than that at this point. Yeah. I won't. I don't want to spoil anything.
Here's a question. On the topic of pro and not pro, do you think now that the pro's out there, games that are running sub 30 on regular PlayStation 4, it's going to get brought up more in reviews? Because I mean, I hope so. I mean, think about like Fallout or Witcher 3 or Bloodborne. All those ran sub 30.
Yeah,
all of those, and those were some of the biggest games of the generation. But you didn't see people criticizing that
because
in
there
reviews.
wasn't a better version.
You know, or think about or like back in the PS2 generation with like Shadow of the Colossus, or the following generation with like Dark Souls for the first time. You know, Blighttown.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
But that wasn't brought up in reviews. Now all of a sudden there's another version, and people are making these frame rate comparisons, and the pros.
Brad, you realize that Fallout 4 ran at 60 frames a second on PC?
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, but think about that. Though.
No, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Just because the PC version existed and amazing graphics cards did, no one was talking about the frame rate because of that in reviews for the PS4
console version. Yeah,
now
correct.
that all of a sudden you have this other PS Pro version out, like games are going to get knocked for performance.
Probably.
That seems a little weird.
But that might be necessary to force their hand and to make them more even. Like if
Who's then?
Some of the developers.
You
like-
talking about Team Eco should have?
No, but I'm saying like as that kind of stuff starts to get called out more in reviews, it might put more pressure on the developers.
I'm just saying it's making it noticeable.
Yeah, well,
Because now that the Pro is new, everyone's doing. We got to
think-
look at both versions. We got to look at both versions. But people didn't really do that with PC and I mean, they did when they were talking about, it's a quality port. The controls are in order. But it's not like people were talking shit about the console because the frame rate was not 60 frames a second. You know, now we're looking at 3 frames difference, and it's a paragraph in a review. Isn't that a little weird?
Would you think that was as egregious if we were talking about a game that wasn't a Team Eco game?
Well, no, any pro game.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think this is just a good
it's
example.
not even just that way.
I'm with Nick. I think if there's going to be a huge disparity between these two differences, if they're promising that these games should still run stably on the hardware we already own, that we don't have to buy into this new hardware, I think it's fair to point that out.
I mean, that's what I thought the bulk of our conversation tonight was going to be focused on the fact that we talked so much about this prior to the release of the Pro that we were all really worried that this game wasn't going to run very well on the original PS4.
But it's not even. It's just raw power that's pushing a few more frames. Like we didn't have a conversation about The Witcher 3. Did we all start it on console?
I'm the only one that started on PC.
This isn't you playing on PC, me playing on PS4. We're having different experiences. This is you playing on PS4, me playing on PS4, and we're having different experiences.
All of us.
Like that is different. That is a different, like the buy-in on a PS4 for both of us is the same. The buy-in for a PC and the buy-in for a PS4 are different.
No, but what I'm saying is people are being critical of the developer all of a sudden, as if
fuck 'em.
like people are.
Fuck those guys.
But what I'm saying is it's like raw power pushed these frames. It's not fucking amazing coding or anything that pushed these frames.
So I mean that's debatable. I think it's a situation of
they can optimize it differently on the original PS4.
So they know
the Pro.
anytime a developer makes a game and the frames start dropping, that they depending on how their engine is and everything, they potentially could get the frame rate better by maybe removing some, be it just stuff in the world, by better optimizing the game,
Absolutely.
By adding fog walls so that not as much shit has to be going on at
I'm
the
with
same
you
time.
there,
I mean, but also look at what Final Fantasy 15 did, and they have like settings you can literally turn on high resolution, low resolution, or lower resolution.
And it affects frame rate.
No. You're right. Like I think all developers should fucking strive for 60 frames a second. I feel like they try to push it too hard, and that's why we're getting games that run sub 30.
If you look,
and we've been getting them all generation, and now all of a sudden, because of a much more powerful system, is just via raw power pushing these frames. It's not like Team Eco's spent months working on this fucking PS Pro patch. They probably those patches. There's probably not much fucking to them.
Is that what you were talking about when you?
Yeah. I saw it. Yeah. All of a sudden, like that lower frame rate version is like a mistake by the developers. Like what's wrong with you for putting out this suboptimal product when we've been playing those games all generation? So and all.
I think the fact that there's two pieces of hardware now gives them a reason.
Brad, what I will say,
I'm playing my PC
I feel like
games
you
on a
are
7.
rushing to Team Eco's defense here for some reason.
No, it is. It's not Team Eco.
I mean, but okay.
I'm saying all generation long.
Wait, why would you be defending Team Eco here?
Yeah, I'm not even. defending Team.
No, he's saying that this is an issue because the PS4 version doesn't run anywhere near as well as the PS4
No, but
Pro
he's
version.
saying that the developer should be absolved of all guilt in that scenario.
No, he's not.
No,
That's what you're saying.
He's
You're
saying the developer
you're
should
saying that
strive to make the game
the
run
difference
better.
is being made by the hardware alone, not by anything that the developer is doing. The developer didn't have anything to do with the fact that the non-pro versions.
He's saying the
running worse
developer
than
didn't change anything in their game and it runs better on one system. He's saying the developer should change something so it runs better on the weaker system.
Yeah. I mean, I always want a better frame rate, but I'm talking
That's not
about...
how it sounded.
No, it's
That's
about...
what he was saying.
It's about the topic of conversation.
Brad,
That all of a sudden, this developer that wouldn't have hit 30 frames stable if the Pro didn't exist, it probably would have been the same fucking game, right? Like, all of a sudden, they've made mistakes because now everyone is, with the fine-tooth comb, comparing it to the Pro version. While all generation, the biggest games have had sub-30 frame rates, Witcher 3, Bloodborne, and
Brad,
Fallout 4.
What I'll say lately...
And people aren't... Like, people didn't... that wasn't paragraphs in a fucking
That's because
review.
everyone was doing it. Lately, console games, Xbone and PS4 games have been looking way better than they have been in the past. Games look amazing, but their frame rates have been horrible. And that's because developers, for some reason, keep pushing the better graphics and frame rate's been falling back. And I
Graphics
think
over performance.
Exactly. And I think because of the PS4 Pro and maybe the Xbox, I don't know how the One S runs, but I think because of that, and people will start realizing, I do prefer the fucking game with better frame rate, that maybe they will hopefully start understanding that maybe in an instance like Final Fantasy 15 and how PCs have always been, it may be either an option to lower graphical settings so the game runs better, or just, understanding that they should strive for a stable frame rate over graphics. That is what I think a lot of people want, and I know there are some who don't care.
What if it does the opposite? Because one thing I noticed about The Witcher 3 is subsequent patches, they would see frame rate improvement. Now, they got a stable version out there on the PS4 Pro. Maybe we don't need to work for months at a time to improve the frame rate in the base version.
We should probably move on from
Yeah,
this
I
conversation. I don't even know why he's still running Last Guardian footage. We haven't really been talking about The Last Guardian
I
for
mean,
a
it
while
stemmed from this, but
It's just so weird. We're in an era
Well,
now
it is a little
that's
strange.
different.
one final note on The Last
frustrating.
Guardian, now that the footage is gone. Like I said, I'm 4.5 hours in. I did, towards the end of it, start enjoying it more. I am going to finish this game. I want to see where it goes. It's like I said, it's just that initial frustration with the lack of guidance and confusion it just really turned me off. And I think I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to, it's a little kid in this situation. He's not going to know everything. But once again, it's a fucking video game. Give me those more complex situations an hour into the game, not the first 10 minutes. Don't give me this branching path where I think I'm supposed to go this way when I'm wrong in the first half hour of the game.
Well, there's also a difference between I have to figure out how to do this and I can't do this because sometimes the game just doesn't work.
Yeah. No.
Like that, I think that's the big distinction to be made there, just based on what
Are you
you're
going to
saying.
play this, Crispy?
I don't fucking know. I'm
say-
not even
you
playing what
seem
I'm
like-
playing right now.
Like, oh, yeah. Like, I knew
You
people were
think,
full
you
of
think
shit.
I'm gushing about this game not being God's gift to man?
You opened with it when Nolan said that he was frustrated. You're like,
No,
I
because,
knew it.
Because
did that come from?
I read a bunch of reviews about this game. People who were giving this game like 9s and 10s.
Do you know why?
Were saying the shit that Nolan's saying. And it's like,
But
I don't understand.
Guess what also got
I don't
9s and
understand how
10s?
you can say like this game doesn't work half the time. I got really frustrated with
I'm
this
going to
game.
tell you why.
Game of the year.
I'm going
Like,
to tell you why.
because they
Have you
built it up to
played?
be this.
No.
That game was a 10 to these people before it came out.
no, it was not.
Yes, it was.
Listen.
Yes, it fucking was.
Do you know how a game with problems can be a 10? Because they connected with it, like on an emotional level, maybe a spiritual level. And
I can tell you right
people-
now.
already
I can tell you right now.
You are skeptical as shit of that, and that's fine. But I'm saying that's how a game with problems can still get a 10. And that's what you're saying. this Metacritic is at like 83%, right? And it's not because it's getting mostly 8s. It's because it's people giving it 6s and 7s here and there, and then the rest are 10s, 9s and 10s. Because it's very. I agree with Nick. I think there's two kinds of people. There's people who will have an experience that they connect with, and they will overlook something and give it a 10. Not everyone follows the same kind of review scale. There are lots of booked games that I adore. I gave Nier my game of the year one year. That game is so fucked. Yeah, like if that didn't connect with me on some weird level, and I just was like fucking graphics, frame rate, controls, like that game would not be my game of the year.
Do you think that connection would exist if this game had just come out of a vacuum?
Yes.
From 6 months ago.
It happened with Ego.
I'm telling you right now. Yeah. I like. Maybe Eco is the better example because when I played Eco, I didn't fucking have any idea what the fuck I was playing.
That was their first game.
Incredibly sure,
but I'm telling you, I played the game for 20 minutes and I was already fucking attached to this creature that you're playing with in this game.
So you're saying before you started playing the game, you didn't have any
I was excited because I like Team Eco games. I like Shadow of the Colossus. I loved Eco, but I went into Eco totally blind. It's impossible. It would have been impossible for me to go in blind, but I openly acknowledge the camera is not good. The controls are as frustrating as they've always been in Team Eco games, but those games connect with me on a totally different level than most games out there. They do.
It would just be easier for me to swallow if this game wasn't already such a meme in video games.
Well, then at that point,
I think you should play it.
But at that point, you're also letting the history of the game's development color the way you perceive other people's opinions of it?
Yeah.
Or your own?
No, just more the fact that I didn't run out and buy it yesterday.
Well, Crispin, I also think it's the opposite situation where you think people are giving it 9s and 10s just because they want to suck its dick. And hold on.
I'm not saying every single person who's giving it a great score is doing it because of that. I feel like there is an influx of certain reviewers who were just a little taken with the hype on it.
Okay, so but what you're saying is you're seeing all these people who are giving it really good scores, and you think, and it seems like in some situations that they were going to give it a good score no matter what. But I don't think you can make that assumption unless you've played the. It's almost like the opposite way.
That's fair. That's fair. But you were asking me, am I going to play this game? And I said, I don't fucking know. I don't have time. I don't have money to really just be buying everything that comes out. This is what I'm thinking. This isn't a game. To me, this isn't a game that I can fucking look at review scores and say oh well, everyone seems to like it. It should be a sound investment. Like those review scores don't mean anything to me. Don't mean anything.
Why though?
Because it is still possible that this great game, I could boot it up and I could be one of those people you're talking about that it just doesn't fucking work with.
Yeah, I mean, sure, that's a possibility.
Then
but why would you not be taken by a 10? Of going, man, maybe this game might be something special, despite that shit. That's what that number tells you, right?
That's also part of the whole discussion of review scores and everything. I mean, everything has to be within the range of 7 to 10 to even be worth it.
10s are the kinds of
we do need to move on.
We're talking in circles again.
We do need to move on. I didn't realize
Eco. There was no hype going into Eco. No one knew what it was.
I didn't realize Last Guardian was going to spark such a passionate conversation.
No, I actually expected that. In fact, Nolan's reaction is not even surprising. I mean, it could have come from him, it could have come from Chris, it could have come from anyone, but that's the least surprising thing I expected to hear about this game.
If the game fails to make a connection with half the people that play it.
But it
does. I mean, I don't think that's what's happening.
All right, let's move on.
I'm just saying, how does that?
Talk about it after the show. All right.
I've been playing a new game.
All right, let's talk about your new game. We'll talk about Final Fantasy 15 again. We'll revisit that at the beginning of the next segment. So let's talk about your new game, Brad.
So
it's out and it's free.
Yep. So as y'all know, I'm off in the middle of the week for the December and January, and I've been getting up early in the morning to play games all day. I've been using this time for 2016 catch up. I'm gonna finish Dishonored and get into Final Fantasy and wrap up some shit that I started earlier in the year. Well, I got up about 7 a.m. this morning and I took a shower, I ate some breakfast, sat down, and I got my broadcast set up, and I was like, let's try out Let It Die. Because that's that free-to-play game from Grasshopper.
Yeah.
You know, that was announced, that's had a weird development cycle.
Yep.
I think it was even called something different a long time ago. But
Yeah, it was. I remember.
Last Friday or PSX,
Last Saturday,
PSX, they were like, "Oh, Let It Die! It's out today. It's free to play. You can go get it now." And I think we knew that it was free to play.
From that?
In-game transactions.
I'll explain to you.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Fuck it, I'll try this out. Need to check it out," because I've been hearing stuff like whispers on the wind, like, "No, this game is legit." That's what I've been hearing, and it's free. So I tried it out, and I played it from about 8:00 in the morning till Nolan got here.
Yeah. I got here at like
Today?
6.
Today.
And he played for another. He played until like 6:45.
Fuck me.
I played this for about 10 hours today,
Jesus Christ.
and I didn't switch off. This
You're
is
pooping
a
a sock?
free-to-play Dark Souls inspired roguelike, dungeon crawling roguelike. With a lot going on. This is by far the most ambitious game
from
from Grasshopper
Oh, yeah.
manufacturer.
That's
This is not a straightforward action game. This is an attempt to do something I think pretty remarkable. I mean, it's crazy that this is a free-to-play game, because you think mobile games where you're like tapping and shit, like this is a game that plays a lot like Dark Souls, but it's Dark Souls that's like kind of crazy and goofy with that Grasshopper manufacturer style. If you don't know who I'm talking about, they made No More Heroes, they made Killer 7, you know, they made Shadows of the Damned. They make crazy, kooky games. That is blended with Dark Souls here. And all the weird shit that you expect is in top form. I think some of the weird, crazy shit is awesome. You pick up frogs and you fucking eat them. And because fuck
As
it.
one does.
As one does, because you need health. And this game is tough and challenging like a Dark Souls game. The combat of a similar pace. You know, it's the kind of thing you rush in, you're fighting, you know, more than 1 or 2 people, you better just run because fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one-on-one, you play smart, you play... You
liking all these little flippies
You
you're
don't
doing.
have to do that. That's a taunt. If anybody and everything is dangerous. So if you don't play smart and you don't play careful, if you overextend... You know, if you mistime shit, you're gonna eat shit.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like Dark Souls. If you get a little too greedy, you're gonna take damage for that.
I always get greedy.
And it is very much stamina based, just like Dark Souls, except your stamina meter is this heart that you see pulsing in your body that gets more intense and brightly colored as you're running and dodging and fighting. It's just a weird kind of cool representation of a stamina meter, but it works. So this is free to play. It's a dungeon crawler. You're climbing up the floors of this tower to complete this dungeon. After 10 hours, I've made it to the 6th floor, and I think there's like 128. So I don't know.
Holy fucking shit.
But
Are there bosses?
Yes, there's bosses. I encountered my second one. I beat my first one. It's really cool. It's fast-paced. There's lots of platforming and verticality and stuff, which you don't actually... I mean, you see verticality in Dark Souls, but you're like running and jumping over gaps and stuff. It's actually kind of fun to do. I'm getting kind of fucked here. You got to be careful. If you get surrounded, you're screwed. One of the things I really like about this game, there's a lot of cool, fun weapons to use and stuff. Like, one of my favorite weapons, it's just an iron. An iron that you hit a dude with and you blast steam in his fucking face. Huge steam clouds that like stun him. There's weird, kind of cool weapons like that.
You're telling me you could like iron his face off?
Yeah. Like in your, you have a meter that builds up. You can kind of do more powerful moves with that meter, and one of them is to you like iron his face off until he dies, and it's pretty fucking cool looking. Lots of cool animations. There's some like suplexes and stuff. I mean, what would it be a Suda game without some dope ass suplexes and shit? No, all that's in here. But the meta game is so fucking addicting because there's so much loot, so much skills. Now let me explain kind of its structure because it's a little weird. This is a free to play game. I mean, the stuff you're buying is these you know, obviously your special currency that you see in a lot of free to play games. In this case, it can instantly revive you if you die. And the reason you might want to do that is because if you die, it is like a roguelike. You have to go back to the dungeon, go back to that floor, and fight yourself to get your shit back, kind of like Zombie U.
Fight yourself?
Fight yourself.
Where you were when you died, you have to go and fight yourself to get your shit back.
Very much like Zombie U. Or you can like spend money to revive them, but that's money that you want to be using on other stuff. This was
when I showed up and you unlocked the door for me. So
sorry, but I popped back in. Live show, folks. Well, this is pre-recorded. But I have not spent a dime, and I don't feel like I need to. It's the kind of thing where, it's a very tense game where you've been alive for a long time, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to wrap this up. I need to get to a safe place and kind of bank all this shit, all the money and stuff I've earned, because I don't want to die and have to, pay money to get it back or fight to get it back. And so it's the kind of thing where I would die when I was really close to like an elevator to get back to my home base, and I was like, fuck it. I'm going to use this special currency to revive myself because I really need to get back. You don't have to. The game is designed to where you don't have to play it that way. It almost seems, this package, there seems like so much going on that I can't believe this is free to play. It's shocking to me because I'm getting this, quite frankly, like awesome experience without spending a dime. And that doesn't happen unless it's a crappy mobile game. Yeah. And I totally intend to play more of this game. As far as some of the other weird features in this game,
I was gonna say that Brad hasn't even gotten to the meta game when you're not in the dungeon.
Yeah,
so
you're not just one character. You have several characters that you can level up. They're different classes, kind of vaguely different classes. Like right now, I'm playing a collector who can actually hold more stuff in your inventory.
Yeah.
Because when you're dungeon crawling, you want to be able to take more shit back. Her stats are slightly less though, but that's the trade-off. There's classes like in that sense. Now, the thing is, you have kind of like this home base where you do all your shit, your crafting weapons and stuff. And
I wanted to say really one of my favorite things about this is when you go between floors and stuff.
The loading.
The loading screen, it will show you everything you did on the floor, like how your character moved around, kind of like Evolve.
All your kills, every pickup.
If you look at your character, it also shows you when you picked up items and when you switched things. I think it's a really cool representation of everything you just did while it's loading. It's just like a nice little like treat.
Really
and once again, like Brad was saying, like I'm surprised this isn't a free-to-play game.
This is like I said, their biggest, most ambitious game.
I wonder when they decided to make this free to play. I wonder if they.
And Nick, I will answer that very easily. Free to play games often make way more money than games you pay for out of pocket.
Also, Gung Ho.
But the game has to lend itself to the design.
Gung Ho published this game. They're a major mobile developer in Japan.
Okay.
I think they maybe even bought Grasshopper. Possibly, they're a huge company. So here's the other weird thing: is you have all these characters, you're doing all these runs, you're going up these floors, fighting these bosses, but there's this layer of very much like the Metal Gear Solid 5 base defense, where you're using your characters and a cross between the pawns from Dragon's Dogma. When you're exploring these dungeons, you'll run into characters from other people's games that either they died there. And they've become sort of an NPC in your level. It's kind of like being invaded in Dark Souls, but it's AI.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, you can invade other people's home base.
Yeah.
And try to kidnap their characters and actually take them back to your home base. You literally put them in your bathroom prison, like lock them in a stall, and over time, if that person doesn't go into your game to get their guy back or pay a ransom, he becomes yours. Well, one of your characters that's just part of your party that you can use to send out to other people's games, that you can use to defend your base, that you can even select to go, to level up and go on explore the dungeon. It's just really crazy that you're literally getting off a train, showing up in another person's game, knocking a dude out, just fucking picking up that dude and hoofing it back to the fucking train because you just stole it. And that dude is like just gone from that other person's game.
That's cool.
It's fucking intense, man. And I'm really nervous that I'm gonna turn my game on and like some of my characters might be gone and I might have to pay the ransom or just go try to get them back. And there's like this whole meta game going on too where I've joined the Texas team and apparently Texas's biggest enemy right now is Germany. So, like, we're going up against Germany and a lot of other countries, but they're, like, our sworn enemy right now. It kind of makes sense that Texas would be like, Germany is the bad matches. But,
Brad, there's a very large German population in Texas.
Oh, really?
Like
Texas
New
was
New
built-
Braunfels, New Braunfels, just like 45 minutes south of here, is like super German.
Yeah, that's true.
Texas has a wonderful tradition of German.
So we have
Immigrant
first-hand
culture.
reasons to hate Germans. I'm just kidding. As a joke. California is kicking the shit out of New York. But it's nice. Like the game is a fucking treat. I don't know what to say. I'm addicted. I think it's legitimately fun to play. And
Would you say this game blew your titties off?
blew my titties. I mean, not enough in my titties apparently, but it's man. I think more people need to try it. There is very low entry because it's free.
Yeah, and so,
So,
Brad, we
I really would like it to be cheaper.
we were talking about this before the show, and I saw it during PSX, and then I looked into it a little bit afterwards. And the reason I haven't started it is because I think I'd be in a situation like you, and that I would probably play like 10 hours of it a day when I can't. Like, there's just too many other games I need to be playing. That's like the frustration I'm in. We had to send Chris Davis our Game of the Year list, our top 10 preliminary list. I included my top 10 and then a list of like 25 games that are potential contenders for my top 10, but I haven't played enough of them to put them even as like, it's just like there are too many fucking games.
This is now another one I have to worry about because I can't just stop playing this and ignore it because it's a 2016 game and this shit is dope as fuck. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like I have like every single one of your weapons, even though it's a roguelike and you can lose characters and you potentially have to start up level 1, all your masteries, like by using weapons, you level up.
So the more you use a weapon, the better you get at it.
Like an Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah.
And there's so many different weapon types that, like, sure enough, I'm like level 12 in irons, and it doesn't matter what character I play, what level they are. They'll always be good at irons, and that's pretty nice because it gives you that feeling of it has enough sense of permanence that. To where losing a character doesn't feel like the end of the world. And I feel like that's important in a roguelike or a roguelite or whatever you want to call it. As opposed to something like Binding of Isaac, where if you die, you are back to square one every time, pretty much. Or even Binding of Isaac has a little bit because you unlock characters.
You unlock characters and new items, but for the most part, you lose almost everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'll download this.
It's-
I don't know when I'll play it, but it's free, so I might as well, right?
it's got a really cool style. It's in a game within a game, and you pull out of the game, and you're like in some.
Like almost like a mall,
And like
or
an
something?
arcade kind of thing, and there's like
a fountain in
the
the
person
middle.
who gives you quests is like this very disinterested girl who works behind the counter. She's like, I don't know anything about this game, but here's some quests, and she's always on her phone talking about her boyfriend. It's very Suda. It's Suda meets Dark Souls, and it worked, and it's free to play. I think this is what Deep Down was supposed to be, because remember when Deep Down was supposed to be like, this is a
Forgot
free to
about
play
that
dungeon
game.
crawler, and we were all like, oh, that doesn't sound good. I don't want it to be free to play. Free to play means bad.
Yeah.
This is proof that free to play does not mean bad.
Well,
Who's to say once I get to floor 80, maybe I'll be like, spending,
maybe you'll just want to die. by the time
throwing
you get-
cash at this game because fuck that. But after 10 hours, I'm begging for more.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. I wasn't expecting such a positive reaction to it. I haven't been able to watch the feed all day, so I wasn't sure how you were taking it. So that's good to hear. We need to take a quick break though. When we come back, we'll revisit Final Fantasy 15 a little bit. We'll do news, which is it's going to be mostly stuff out of PSX and Video Game Awards, and then of course we'll answer questions from our patrons. So we're going to take a quick break, but if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. All right. Anyways, welcome back to the show, everybody. We still got a video game to talk about. Everyone here has been playing some more Final
I
Fantasy
played
15.
a little bit more.
Yep.
How much is it? I know
I was
Nolan's
glitched.
Nolan has made a lot of progress.
I'm on either the last or second to last chapter.
I did what you said last week, Nolan. I got a chocobo, and then I haven't done a single fucking story mission since.
Isn't it like a game changer?
Yeah.
Now imagine
Except now
having your chocobos taken away
Except
from
now
you.
I always worry about where I left my car, which you don't really have to worry about it. You can always
You can fast travel
You
to
can
it,
fast
yeah.
travel back to it. It's just one of those things. Like in the top of my head, I'm always like, where did I leave the car? But I did have a scenario this week because I remember at some point when I was playing, I saw the like tow your car button.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember where I saw it, and I ran out of gas. And I ran out of gas on a giant bridge leading up to a gas station, and I pushed my car all the way there.
Nice.
I didn't even know you could push your
Yeah,
car
you can. That's a
after
mechanic
that
in the
first
game.
sequence.
It took about 15 minutes.
Would have been more practical if you had
Did you at least turn on your MP3 player?
Can you do that while you're pushing the car?
You have to buy it.
Son of a bitch.
So one of the underrated things in this game is when you are driving, you can access the store and you can buy and sell
that's
things
nice.
while the car's just driving around the map. So next time you're just driving around, Nick, just pop into the in-car store and buy an MP3 player.
Okay.
It's only 100.
I've been buying all the soundtracks.
Yeah.
I will say this: the auto driving is nice for when you're streaming and you got to like take a dump. It gives something.
It also gives you a time limit too. It's like 7 minutes.
I have
gotta-
7 minutes to squeeze this out.
So yeah, no, I am very far into the game because it got to the point where I was like, oh my god, I'm like coming up on 30 hours, and all I've been doing are side quests and hunts, and it's fun and all, but I should probably start wrapping up this game, or at least getting to a point where I can officially at least finish the story, so I can know where this game stands in my end of the year stuff.
Yeah.
So I started what I thought was going to be, just focusing a little more on story than doing some side missions and stuff like that.
I'm still on chapter 4.
So it kind of became a frustration for me because I didn't realize, at multiple points in the story, even where probably you are, Brad, it's been like, hey, if you do this story mission, you're not going to be back here for a while.
that's how-
But
Yeah.
it's like an hour.
Really?
Usually, yeah.
Well, son of a
So
bitch.
I started a story mission, and it was like, hey, you're not going to be back here for a while. It's been like 6 hours
Oh.
that I haven't been back to the area where you get to do all the fun side quests whenever you want.
Yeah.
And it's almost turned into Final Fantasy 13.
Where it's gone. It's
It's very linear.
well, yeah. That's one thing that they said before the game even released. That this has kind of a backward, like compared to Final Fantasy 13, it's kind of backwards, where it
Backwards.
starts open and then it funnels.
Yeah. And so that's where I'm at right now. And
I don't think the game has. You're on what, chapter 13?
I just finished 13. I'm on 14
I don't think
now.
there's many more chapters.
I think I'm on the last chapter.
How long have you been playing this game?
I'm at 35 hours,
Oh, okay.
36 hours.
But
Okay.
I've heard this game described. I mean, more so than I think any Final Fantasy that I've. I guess there hasn't been too many in recent memory, but there people are finishing the story and then doing like tens of hours of stuff out in the open world.
And my assumption
after.
is that was probably what I'm going to end up doing.
And you get the flying car after you beat the main story.
Yeah, that's what everyone said.
Seems crazy.
So, and it was funny though because I just finished chapter 13, which left a very bad taste.
Which
in
is
my
funny.
ass.
Did you see the news today?
Yes, Chris Davis told me about that.
They are
bad taste in
patching
your ass?
specifically
Chapter
chapter
13.
13.
After I've completed it and had a very frustrating time with that chapter, and it was like Bernadette, because she got home from work, and I had been playing, and I was like, you know what, I just kind of want to get to a point, like a good stopping point,
Yeah.
and I was like, this hadn't gotten there yet. I haven't really gotten there yet, and it's like just like, and then by the time the chapter ended, I was like, thank fucking God! Like I just was so over that chapter.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil anything.
I hope they patch
But
it soon.
if it must be bad if they're specifically patching that one chapter.
No, and clearly, yeah. Like, clearly, I don't know how they're going to fix it.
they're going to be inserting cutscenes into this game, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I heard. One silly thing is while it's like a very linear thing, you can't save anytime. There,
Yeah.
you have to go to like save points. It's like old school Final Fantasy, which I'm fine with. I mean,
Really?
that's it's
weird.
once you get to where it is, you'll understand why.
Yeah.
in a dream.
Does
no.
the story...
It's essentially like a big dungeon. In dungeons in this, you can't save.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that,
Yeah.
but there are save points in the dungeon. Think of it like that.
Does the story... I guess I don't want to ask any specific question about the story.
You've played more, right?
Not of the story. I mean, yeah, I'm about 20 hours right now, but I'm still in chapter 4. I've been running around grinding and doing shit in the open world.
Which that's hard to do. Like I was trying to have this conversation with Nolan before the podcast, but I feel like the game is really at odds with the player trying to enjoy stuff in the open world. Stuff like not being able to take on multiple hunts, not knowing which outposts give you which hunts, not just seeing a list of that. Like I'll go to an outpost and I'll be like, oh, I guess I can't do these hunts. Who the fuck else has these hunts? Where are these places? What are the names of them? Because I need to fast travel to them and I don't remember.
So this is something that Brad and I were talking about before the show, and I kind of brought it up a little bit last week. And it's kind of like what we were talking about with The Last Guardian, in that I think there are a bunch of tiny issues that this game has, technically, with how they handle how you interact with it, which are really silly, and I don't understand why they chose to do that. And it's like Brad was saying, one example is hunts. You get hunts from the restaurants in the game,
Which is weird.
the something crow,
Crow's Nest.
Crow's Nest, thank you. But everyone doesn't have all of the same hunts. They each have their own. And like Brad was saying, you can't take on multiple hunts. You have to do one at a time.
So weird.
And you'll like see a hunt and maybe you can't do it now, or you have another hunt you want to finish. And then by the time you're like, hey, wait, where was that hunt again? I don't want to have to fucking go to every single restaurant. Think of like Final Fantasy 12. Didn't 12 have like the notice board that just had all of the hunts? And
You know what I did for that?
Huh.
I bought the big guide.
Oh. Oh, I mean, that would.
Although I haven't looked at it yet.
It would be
so-
nice if there was a big guide when you pressed pause.
Yeah, that'd be
and it
great.
gave you a list of all of the hunts you've seen.
Because
Yeah.
it does that with side quests.
Yeah, you can take on as many side quests as you want. Yeah, and it just have a big fucking list of side quests.
Yeah.
So
There are a lot of weird decisions.
The other thing that Brad talked about was the map and how you interact with the map. So there is fast traveling, and you kind of scroll down through that list of places you can go. But one of the biggest like frustrations early on, especially, is how the map moves when you're scrolling through the list. The map just kind of fucking flings
like, where the
around and
fuck
stuff.
is it going?
Like
Yeah.
you get kind of confused as to wait, where am I? You have to always like go somewhere and then zoom out to be like, where am I in relation to myself? Like I don't understand why the map isn't stationary and just the icon moves
And you
around.
can't just pick a point on the map and travel there.
Oh, that
you
is-
can't auto drive. You can't fast travel. You can't. You
So hold
have
on.
to like.
You can auto drive to some places. Oh, sorry, you can't auto drive.
Actually-
You manually drive.
Actually, you can
Manual
you can
drive.
set a marker anywhere in the map and set it as a destination as an auto drive.
It will auto
Not a
drive.
fast travel,
Not a
though.
fast travel
Oh,
auto
not a
drive. It's a
fast
regular
travel.
auto. But hold on to that regard, Nick. Why can't I pull up the map, take my icon, scroll over a restaurant, and say this is where I want to go?
A place where fast travel is unlocked. Why can't you hover over it and fast travel there? It's like they really wanted to make it this open world RPG that is heavily influenced by a lot of the open world RPGs we've been playing over the past 10, 20 years in the West. You know, but they didn't actually play any of those games. They just kind of maybe watched some clips on YouTube.
Once again, it's silly frustrations that, in my opinion, could have easily been rectified and would make the game so much better.
Yeah, it's a good game, but it could have been like the best game.
And this could possibly be some of the things they're patching. It's very unfortunate that they had to wait until the game came out and get feedback from all these people. Like, I mean, there was the whole episode Disguy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
and they incorporated a lot of feedback from that into
and
the
they
game.
did, but the problem is
Maybe not enough.
They didn't incorporate all of the issues we're having now because you couldn't do hunts in that.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have the driving until like a later demo, and that was probably almost too late at that point. But it's like, I don't know, like it's just really silly why they chose to do some of the things they chose to do.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. It feels like it's just a weird game.
Yeah.
It really is. It's there's so many weird decisions about it, but for
It's
some
hard
reason
to
it's-
navigate the world by looking at a map because you'll come across these like cliff sides that are never ending, and you don't see it on the map. But like I can't actually go there. I can't go up there. Seems never ending. Like there's a large part of the world that I just don't have access to it, but it doesn't show that on the map.
Yeah.
And it can get really frustrating if you're trying to navigate around the world without fast traveling. And somebody in chat says, "Oh, I thought he didn't like fast travel." I don't. If a world is designed in such a way to where it makes sense not to have to rely on it, and as great as the chocobos are, when you're trying to like collect a bunch of hunts and shit, you pretty much have to.
I'll
fast
be
travel.
honest. This is another game this year where I can probably count the number of times I've fast traveled on one hand.
Hold on, at this point.
At this point.
The problem
At this
is
point.
this world is pretty fucking big.
Yeah.
If you were to not fast travel, you would be
I
like,
still haven't gone very far beyond that first big city you get
yeah,
to.
and so but that's the thing though, is it gets even bigger, and there are bigger areas, and there are points where you're taking a quest on the very top left of the map, and it's on the very bottom right
Yeah.
of the map, and that would take a
It
decent
can take
chunk
like
of time.
it can take like 20 minutes by chocobo to get from one corner of the map.
And
to the
that's
other.
not an interesting chocobo ride because it's that same fucking song. If they do anything in an upcoming patch, please let me use the MP3 player on my fucking chocobo.
That'd be nice.
So tired of that theme. I'd prefer the chocobo theme from 13.
The funny thing is, in every previous Final Fantasy game, when you get to ride chocobos, it's always a delight to listen to the theme. But that's because you're riding them for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In this game,
In
you're
a
riding the
60-hour
chocobos
game.
for like fucking 40 minutes sometimes.
That's true. You probably spend like
You spend hours.
If you spend 40 hours playing this game, like at least 15 of that is riding a chocobo.
and
At
you just
least.
listen to the same fucking theme over and over.
Probably
And they don't-
more.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about some of the negative stuff that's popped up. I do want to point out one of the big things that happened to me since last week was as I started to get farther, I started to have a little more frustration with the combat. I was
Fighting in the woods.
Fighting in the was more of fighting bigger groups of enemies at once.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, I felt like it was getting away from me. And I was like, I don't know if it's just not clicking or what's going on. So I went to the camp where you can train.
Yep.
And I spent probably 45 minutes training with Gladios. And I got out of that, totally turned it around. I was fucking, like, I went from getting, like, C's and D's and all the, the rating and everything to getting A's and B's almost every single time, which was a really cool feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I actually felt like I did a one-on-one training session with Gladios. I beat that level, got to the next one where you could train with him and Ignis at the same time. And by the time I was finished with that,
Yeah, there's a level where you can train with all of them.
yeah, and
You're probably not there yet, though.
no,
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. But it's just it's a really cool way to like hone your combat skills.
It's also free AP, so do
It is also
You know
free
what's
AP.
frustrating though is like I had that point where like the combat kind of clicked for me, but that doesn't prevent like clusterfuck scenarios that were always gonna pop up.
Yeah.
Because as much as you figured it out, that doesn't mean you're always in control to do the stuff that you know how to do.
In that regard, yes. And I brought it up last week.
The trick is always hold square.
Oh yeah, no. And I brought that up.
always-
always
square.
use regroup.
So the thing is, regroup is I turned it off for a while and I instantly regretted it. I was like, I want to use some of Ignis's other attacks, but then I was like, fuck,
He's
I
the
really want
healer.
regroup. I really want regroup. But no, so what I'll say is, after learning about the whole R1 R3 scenario, I will say I've brought up the map dozens and dozens of time in combat on accident.
On accident.
But then. Yes, it is much better because I can lock onto an enemy
Don't
and
hit
stay
it while
locked
you're not
onto
holding
him
R1.
until I have to parry another enemy, and then I've lost the one I was now fighting. There's like 8 or 9 enemies, and I can see him. I can see the one I was fighting. I know it, but then I can't get the fucking icon to get back on him and lock on, and it's just another frustration. I wish I could lock onto an enemy, and until I press a button that says unlock that enemy, I wish the icon would not unlock from him until he is dead.
Yeah.
Because once again, when it's a situation where you're fighting 8 or 9 enemies at a time, I don't like to do a little damage here and here and here. I like to take out one at a time. And
Yeah.
it makes it very difficult to do when you have to parry. If you don't parry, you're just going to get hit. And when you parry, that lock on is automatically taken away.
You know, it's a little thing, or it's a big thing. I feel like the combat would be so much more pleasant if if the enemies would just calm down a little bit. They move around too much fast. Every enemy in the game is like this, man. And like imagine what Dark Souls would be like if every enemy was like. I was gonna say a word that I heard in Britain is not a. Is okay.
Okay.
Oh God. I know what you mean.
I'm just saying, like
it's crazy.
It's.
What?
I'm just saying, like if the enemies weren't moving around so much, I think I would have more control over what's going on. Like he attacks this thing, and then what happens? They're just gonna start prancing around all over the place. You're losing lock-ons. Your camera's fucking up. If everything just slowed down, we'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at this combat going on screen right now.
Kind of a
It's-
clusterfucky, yeah.
Even these fucking
this,
antelope
because this is me playing right here. I recorded some footage on Brad's PS4 before the show, and you can see me. I will lock onto an enemy, and I will try to take out that one enemy. but then another enemy will attack me, and I'll lose the lock on, and then I try and find the one I was just fighting, and it can be difficult sometimes.
He's off prancing
because he ran away somewhere.
Yeah.
No, and
He's prancing, guys. He's prancing.
That's why my favorite ability in the game is Prompto's gravity bomb thing, because it just for a brief moment control.
Yeah. Every enemy is in.
And every time I play an RPG, I always favor abilities that are crowd control.
Yeah.
But this game, you don't have enough of them. I even sought out that there's a machinery weapon.
Yeah.
That you can get in the first base.
Yeah.
That is like a light version of Prompt. It just shoots a gravity bomb, but it's not as powerful and doesn't suck as much. But it's still.
Wait, it doesn't suck as much, or
it doesn't suck in as much.
Okay.
It sucks much.
We can move on from Final Fantasy. It's weird. I just want to point. To me, this is a very weird game.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like Final Fantasy to me.
Oh, it doesn't. It's very different.
And there are a lot of weird design choices. There are a lot of weird, just idiosyncrasies about this game. Yet, I'm kind of fucking addicted to it.
I'm almost 40 hours in. I'm clearly enjoying it.
Yeah, it's
Like-
just it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird game. It's a weird game. I think that's okay. It's just a weird fucking game.
Dude, the first time I fought a Tonberry, that was so exciting.
I haven't even fought a fucking Tonberry. Are they horrible?
They are very slow
if
until they
Tonberries
get
are
right up
zipping
on you,
around-
and they start fucking stabbing you with their knife.
But they're not zipping around all over the place.
Because they're slow, because they're Tonberries,
Yeah,
until they
better
get
than
like a
that.
few feet from you, and they do a little dash and stab.
Dash
Yeah.
and stab. All right, let's move on. We'll revisit this periodically as we're playing more.
I'm sure most likely by next week I'll have finished the game.
And hopefully I will have done at least one more story mission before next week. We'll see what happens. All right, so big news week.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh god, yeah.
Big news week. A lot of stuff.
Two big like shows.
Yeah.
Since last week. Yeah.
Start with the Game Awards, right?
Yeah. The big opener at the Game Awards.
I missed about half of it.
That Shovel Knight DLC looks dope.
Yeah, Shovel Knight does that. Wasn't the big opener.
That
though.
was yeah.
Let's talk about Death Stranding.
Let's talk about Death Stranding. In fact, someone from the beginning of the show wanted to hear our thoughts on that. We've all watched the trailer. I know Crispy watched it right before the show.
It was a big surprise when they showed like a person. I was like, oh, this is a new character. Who is it? Turns around, Guillermo del Toro. I was like,
Guillermo
what the
del
fuck?
Toro. Not only is he working
my
with Hideo
God.
Kojima, he's in the fucking game. Also holding a
to,
baby.
to what extent? I don't know. I mean, I think that might have just been like a trailer kind of like themey type thing. Like, oh, jokingly throw him in there. I don't know if he's actually in the game. But
I would like to know the answer to that question, though.
oh yeah, a lot of people want to know a lot of questions. Have a lot of questions they want answered.
When I hear of Guillermo, I hope he's not just a character in the game, because when I hear Guillermo del Toro involvement,
I want him behind the camera.
I guess I want more than just a character model.
You
Yeah.
well,
And a voice.
that's because you want something else from him, not
Because
we
he
don't
made
we don't
Pan's
we don't turn to
Labyrinth,
him
and I
for
really
his
like that
acting
movie.
ability.
I don't know.
We want his creative input.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't want him for his body. We want his mind.
In fact, yeah, maybe I prefer his creative input to whatever's going on here. I don't know. I'm excited because it's Hideo Kojima's
Rainbow
new game, but
confirmed. There's a rainbow in it. You see the rainbow?
what's with the fucking little baby in the jar?
well,
Why are they making their own engine? Their
Is-
first game should have just been a fucking Unreal game, because this thing is never
Well, we clearly
coming
know
out.
they can make a good fucking engine.
But that's with
No.
a lot more money behind it.
no, they're not making their own engine. for
Yeah,
this.
they are.
Yeah, this is a new engine.
Wait,
Yeah.
am I thinking of a completely different game that's running on the Killzone engine or the Horizon engine?
Yes.
What game? There was a game that was talked about. What the fuck was it?
I don't know.
It was at the
The
Some-
Game Awards? I don't know. I'll-
This is the Guerrilla
yes,
Games
there
engine.
it is. Death
Oh, it
Stranding
does?
does run on the engine that they used to build Horizon.
But they are making...
when Hideo Kojima was running around all over the world, fucking visiting all those studios, shopping for one of the studios he visited was Guerrilla Games, and that's the engine they went with, the same engine that's running Horizon
Okay.
Zero Dawn.
The Decima engine? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I
Decima
guess
is-
what they
is also
did.
running Horizon.
I guess.
Oh, okay. So I thought that was a new engine.
Actually, it is. I think it is a new engine, just not. It is new for Guerrilla
Okay.
Games making
Okay.
Horizon.
Okay.
I guess I was confused as well.
Okay.
I heard it was the Decima engine.
Yeah, I thought that was
Okay,
something.
and I thought, I didn't realize that Horizon was also running the Decima engine. But yeah, to like I was saying, my guess is this little baby right here is Norman Reedus. That's my guess.
Well, goddamn it, Nolan.
I don't know. Fuck. Why not? It's crazy. It's a Hideo Kojima game.
Well,
Anything's
Norman
fucking
Reedus was
possible.
also holding a baby.
Yeah, maybe he was holding a baby Guillermo del Toro.
That'd be weird. What if he was holding a baby Mads Mikkelsen?
That's true because he's in this game now too.
Everyone in chat was saying Nick is masturbating.
Yeah.
What? Why?
Because I was doing a live stream of
Wait,
this.
why was I
And it was
masturbating?
because
Mads
you were so
Mikkelsen.
excited for Silent Hills, which
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
combination of Norman Reedus, Hideo Kojima, and Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
Then that went down the shit. And then all of a sudden, Hideo Kojima's making a new game with also Norman Reedus. You got excited. Guillermo del Toro's not on the project. Then all of a sudden, Guillermo del Toro now is on the project, and they're introducing Mads Mikkelsen, which is one of your favorite actors,
Yeah.
all in one fucking game.
Yeah.
Why would you not be masturbating?
Because
Nick?
it's not called Silent Hills. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I am very excited for the involvement of Mads Mikkelsen. I think he guy is a tremendous actor. I am excited for his involvement. Although, Crispy, you okay?
What did you see at the Game Awards, Crispy?
I didn't watch them.
Well,
Neither-
You saw trailers after the fact?
Yeah. Yeah, The Last of Us Part 2 trailer was kind of...
That was at PSX.
That was at
No.
PSX. We're getting there. We're getting there.
the Game Awards, yeah.
What else is at the Game Awards? I'm having trouble
Dude, there was
remembering
nothing
now.
new at the
No
Game
Man's
Awards.
Sky
They showed Prey. They showed more Prey footage.
Oh well,
and holy shit, that looked really
y'all
good.
really need to watch that. Full
Like so,
show.
the some of the new enemy designs. They did show some Mass Effect
Yeah,
gameplay.
that's true.
Oh,
They showed
wait.
a lot.
Yeah. What's up next?
Sorry, you're right. I completely forgot about the Mass Effect gameplay.
Well, I think the problem was we had the Game Awards and then we had PSX, and PSX ended up being way more fucking exciting. So we almost forgot about everything that happened less than 24 hours earlier.
Some stuff happened at the
Yeah.
VGAs.
But anyway, yeah. So we did. Well, hold on. Once again, Prey. Some of the Prey footage they showed was pretty fucking awesome. Some pretty interesting enemy designs running around. They did show it before, but the ability for the main character to prop hunt in the game, you can fucking turn into like...
And the enemies, too.
And the enemies can also do it as well. So it literally is going to be like prop hunt, which got me even more excited for Prey. Yeah.
Let's not forget about the foam gun.
Oh my god,
That's
yes.
right!
So fucking like
So you did
what is that
they
game?
showed that in
Shadow
the
Complex.
short version.
Like Shadow Complex, yeah, they show you shooting foam onto a wall and then you being able to use that as a movement system throughout the game, being able to
Bravo.
get to
That's a complete ripoff. But if you're gonna rip off something,
rip off
foam
something
gun
good.
is a great fucking choice.
Yeah, totally. I'm getting even more excited for it's not the
Yeah.
Prey 2 I want.
Oh, it's
Hashtag not my Prey.
It's not.
But
Not
I'm
my
still
Prey.
I'm still excited for it.
But this is more like substantial and exciting and real now versus that people were losing their mind over the it's
Oh, the
my
cinematic-
eyeball.
Yeah, that
this
was-
is gonna be cool.
that
and
didn't show us
atmospheric.
anything, yeah.
That didn't sell me on anything. That when I saw that, I was like, well, you know what? Fuck you. I missed the other Prey too. But now that I've seen actual Prey,
yeah. I'm excited.
as terrible as of a title as it is,
Yeah.
who does the next game in a series of that's only been one game and names it the same thing?
Yeah, that's true.
That is literally the dumbest thing.
It's a little silly.
That's the worst.
To make a sequel to a game that came out almost a decade ago and just call it the same
even
name.
if it's you just don't do that.
But the funny,
it's like Metal Hideo Kojima makes Metal Gear Solid, and 8 years later, he makes Metal Gear Solid,
Yeah. It's a little weird.
I mean,
or somebody
let's
else
be-
makes Metal Gear.
Let's
Solid.
be real here for a second. Like the dumb thing is not that they made a sequel to a game and gave it the same name. It's that they made a completely different game that has nothing to do with the original game and still called it the same name.
Yeah.
This game has zero to do with the original Prey.
Call
Correct.
it Prey Infinite.
The word Prey, for
Prey-
all intents and purposes,
Prey forever.
did not need to be involved here.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it is Arcane.
Yes.
We all like Arcane. That's
We
being
do.
built here in Austin.
It is.
No, it's not like Doom. There was a lot of other games with Doom in the title before Doom was just called Doom again.
And not to
it's
mention-
okay if you do it like they did with Tomb Raider. You know, they eventually just called it Tomb Raider. It's a reboot. That's fine. You don't go from Prey to Prey.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Especially when they're completely different.
It's fucked up. That was a 360 game.
Oh my god.
Like
Nick,
if the
Nick
next
bought the collector's edition.
like if the next Final
Oh my God, I
if the
fucking
next
did.
Final Fantasy game was just called Final Fantasy, that wouldn't be that far of a stretch.
But if it was called Final Fantasy 15.
By the way,
yes, that would be weird.
By the way, for the first time ever, I think I finally got a collector's edition that I'm not totally disappointed in my purchase.
Which one is that?
I got The Last Guardian.
Oh, you got the little statue?
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
It's cool. They gave you an art book and a soundtrack and a bunch of like stickers.
Stickers. There you go. But yeah, so
like it.
also at Game Awards was Mass Effect gameplay.
Okay,
and
that was the closer.
They showed some pretty interesting, like. So I hear that there's only one class in the game. That's what but there's like skill trees. That's what I'm hearing because I saw them and it almost looked like the what was the class you always liked, Brad?
Vanguard.
Vanguard. A lot of the moves the character was using was Vanguard moves. They were
Yeah.
getting fucking up and close.
Jetpack.
Exactly. They were getting up personal. They were getting right up in enemies' faces and doing shit. But then they showed them doing some other stuff that didn't seem Vanguard-y, and I assumed that classes were back. But apparently, no. There's one class, and you just have skill trees where you're kind of like picking and
Well,
choosing. I guess.
I've been Vanguard for 3 games, and I'll be as close to a Vanguard as I can in this one.
They showed more Mako stuff, like driving around on like Mako.
I'm
but it
getting
actually
so
looks good.
excited about this game.
Yeah.
Even if it's just Dragon Age Inquisition, but in space, on other planets, like that gets me very excited.
Mm-hmm.
And but my sweaty palm for Mass Effect is the characters, the brother and sister, their last name is Ryder. I'm not going to start until someone makes a perfect Winona. And then I'll play through the new Mass Effect trilogy as Winona Ryder.
There you go. They showed your what is the new Normandy called? There's a new name for this new ship. Chris Davis probably knows what it is. I'll wait for him to type
Crispy,
it.
did you watch the Mass Effect footage?
No, that's all right. They showed you like kind of flying that around and landing it on places and getting out of it and like doing stuff. So
Yeah.
like I'm excited. For
I mean,
the
I wasn't
potential
expecting much
game
out of that
holds.
footage, but by the time it was done, I was rock hard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
The Tempest is your new ship. Mako was called the Nomad. The Nomad. So anyway,
I like
I'm
that.
excited. What else was at the Game Awards? They showed.
They showed some new. Wait, no, that was PlayStation Experience.
Yeah,
as well.
PlayStation. They did show something else. They showed a new.
Shovel Knight looked hot.
Yeah, they showed.
That was the only like new thing we didn't know was coming, right?
Correct. It's not a new game, but yeah. Oh no! They showed. What is that game? Bulletstorm. And I thought
what?
I thought it was a Bulletstorm sequel. It's a fucking like remaster.
It's a $60 remaster
Yeah.
of Bulletstorm.
I was like, because they announced
that
it.
game bombed when it came
and,
out.
like,
you can't put it out again.
They
It's
said
$60.
introducing Bulletstorm something. I can't remember what the subtitle was. And I was like, oh shit, is this a sequel to Bulletstorm? And I started watching the footage and I'm like, that looks like the first one, just kind of nicer. And as I'm watching it more, I'm like, oh fuck. And that's the best fucking part, because Gearbox is the one fucking doing this. And so, if you fucking pre-order the game, you can have the main character replaced as Duke Nukem.
Literally, they just fucking paint Duke Nukem over the main character, and he has his own voice. I guess they insert him into the cutscenes, but he has his own dialogue that just plays off of what the other characters are just saying, and it's Duke Nukem, and it looks like a PS2 character model.
Looks bad.
It looks terrible.
Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition.
Jesus.
$60.
So the funny thing was, they announced it. They were like Bulletstorm Full Clip, and I was like, oh. And then as it starts showing, I was like, what? And at the end, it's like Full Clip Edition. I was like,
Inconceivable.
fuck.
Listen, man. I hate Randy Pitchford so much.
I was expecting there to be a but,
Yeah.
but
there was this whole like Twitter argument of people going like,
I
man,
hate
this
that
is
man.
this is kind of bullshit. Like, y'all planning to do any discounts for the people who have it on PC? And he's like, no, it's not fucking possible.
Well, they
Even
said
though it
there's-
has been possible with other games under Games for Windows Live, because Bulletstorm was a Games for Windows Live game. But they're like, no. He's like, you know what? Maybe this is just not the game for you, bro. Like, fuck that dude.
Yeah.
Fuck that dude.
I mean, so Spectrum.
He makes everything he's associated with gross. And you know what? I never finished the original Bulletstorm, but I've heard some pretty good things.
You know what?
No one bought it.
I played through the entire game.
I played it.
It was okay. It was an okay game.
I wouldn't say I was happy with the fact that I spent $60 on it.
I in my honest opinion, I would not pay $60 for a remake of it.
Nope.
I mean, maybe if you never played it before and you're looking for a good game and you really like Duke Nukem, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know. Like, whatever. That was
Please
kind of
tell me that
silly.
at least the Skyrim remaster.
That
was
is hilarious.
$60.
Yes,
That-
it is.
That is hilarious because I did not even know that was announced during
Yep.
this show. That
Yep.
you are breaking this news
I-
to me as we speak.
I inadvertently follow the guy who wrote the quote-unquote story for Bulletstorm.
You inadvertently.
Well, it's an author named Rick Remender, who's a comic book author. And apparently he wrote the story for this. So the only way I heard about this is I was checking Twitter that day, and he's like, all right, I can finally say it. We're doing a remaster of Bulletstorm. And then like all these people were chiming in like, oh my God, I didn't know you wrote that game. I love Bulletstorm. Bulletstorm was so much fun. I should go play Bulletstorm again. I'm like, who the fuck are these people?
It's got a little bit of a cult following.
Who are these people?
It's got a little bit of a cult following. But it bombed. No one bought it.
Like,
Which makes it weird for them to do a full price remaster.
Rick Remender's fine author. I don't have
Well,
anything
how does he
against
feel
it,
about the
but,
fact
like,
that they are like inserting Duke Nukem into his story? Literally,
he seems to be on board with it.
You know why? Because he's getting a paycheck.
no, he's not. No one's getting a paycheck from this project.
It's got to make money for him to get a paycheck, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So bad.
I pulled up a list because I couldn't remember everything. They did show some new Breath of the Wild footage that looked pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that did
nothing
look
too
good.
crazy. They didn't show anything too
No,
crazy.
but you know what? I don't have to. Like, I'm very high on that game.
No, yeah, me too.
And it's been a long time since I've been really high on a Zelda game. Well,
They showed quickly going over a couple things. Telltale's Walking Dead Season 3, A New Frontier. They showed some footage from the new Telltale game, the new Walking Dead
I've
game.
seen trailers of that. Is anybody gonna play that?
Yeah, probably.
Wait, Crispy sounds like you found gold. What
No, yeah, the exact tweet that did it, I went back and looked. The exact tweet that did it is, in 2011, I wrote Bulletstorm, a much-loved video game that satirized video games. So excited that it's being remastered.
There you
Like,
go.
that was like, that's...
Also announced at the Game Awards, Telltale's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. What do y'all think about that? What do you think about that, Crispy? Would you play that?
Before Crispy's
Dude,
opinion?
I haven't even played beyond the first episode of Telltale's Batman.
By the way, we all
that's
have
a little
have
weird.
codes for that. Man.
Yeah, they sent some.
We
out.
do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, but wait, Crispy.
Yeah.
The last Telltale game that was more about humor, you really loved.
I did.
So maybe this will feel a little bit more like Tales from the Borderlands.
And possible. I will say, in my opinion, Telltale needs to slow their fucking roll. How many fucking people do they have working on these games?
Yeah.
Because they are putting out games like fucking this.
I'm pretty sure they're working on Telltale's 4-player podcast.
And lately, the games have been a little more hit and miss than when they first kind of got on their roll with Walking Dead. And so I want them to slow down. I want them to
Well, that's
fucking...
good because they also announced The Walking Dead Season 3 at the show.
Yeah, I know. I said that. I just said that.
Yeah.
Damn
no,
it.
that's been announced.
And they kind of announced it earlier, but they just showed some
Really?
more footage of it.
I didn't even know that was a real
gave it an
official-
official title.
It was supposed to come out this year.
I know. I didn't
Or
know
maybe,
this
I don't
until
know.
like the actual show. I was like, wait, it comes out this month? What the fuck?
Yeah, the first 2 episodes, or it's like a 2-part whatever. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything from the Game Awards.
Let's move on to the other one then.
So let's move on to the good show that we didn't know. Like, everyone was excited after the Game
Yeah,
Awards.
it was like a secret E3.
we were like, oh, okay, Game Awards, nice. And then PSX started, and everyone was like, ooh, look at this, they're announcing a new Tomb Raider. We have this Lara Croft walking around in, like, I don't know if it was like Cairo or something.
But it was nice.
And it was like, ooh, interesting. And then she was like picking a lock, and then I was watching it, and I was like, man, their foreign language is really good. Like, wait, who did?
I don't see this kind of detail.
Yeah, from the Tomb Raider games don't generally have that. And then I saw like, oh, like she's fighting some people. That doesn't seem very Tomb Raider-y. Like, it almost seems like Naughty Dog-esque.
Yeah.
And then
as
she
soon
starts
as I saw,
talking.
As soon as I saw her like melee dude into an object, I knew.
Contextual.
I knew.
And then I saw that girl, and I'm like, that kind of looks like Nadine. That's weird. And then fucking the mask comes off, and it's Chloe, and I was like, what the fuck?
Like, I'll be honest.
They're
That's
doing
cool.
some kind of Tomb Raider crossover?
It's like, no way.
You still didn't get it, and I was like 2 days later, you're like, oh my god, I think that was a new Uncharted game.
So Naughty
I'm
Dog.
still a little confused as to what this
I would like
actually
to see it.
is.
So it is a.
Am I going to be able to walk into a store and buy this?
Yes.
Or is this like a...
So think of it like Left Behind. Left Behind?
But Left Behind is DLC.
No, it's standalone.
It's standalone. Left Behind is standalone.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean,
you can buy that
it is.
standalone.
No,
You
but
don't
I'm
have to
saying,
have the
But you
game?
can't.
No.
You can't.
no,
buy
you don't
it.
have to have the game.
No.
But they might do like what they did with Last of Us and do like a remastered that has both.
So, but my question is like, are you gonna be able to walk into a store and say, "I will take Uncharted: The Lost Legacies"?
Maybe.
Please?
I am 90% sure yes.
You can already do that.
Why would they not?
Yeah.
Because,
no,
well, I mean, you keep comparing it to Left Behind. You couldn't walk into a store and say,
I'm
"Give me
not
Left
comparing
Behind."
it to
Yes,
Left
you
Behind.
could.
Yes, you would sell you a DLC code for
No, I'm talking about like, is it gonna be a packaged disc? Is what I'm wondering.
Left Behind was never on a packaged disc until they put it in remaster.
Y'all are missing my point. I'm saying, is this game
You
gonna be
could
like a
walk
$40
in the
disc? I
store.
walk into a store and
I
buy
don't
off the
think
You
shelf.
could walk into the store and buy Lara Croft Temple of Osiris, and they'll give you a box with cover art. And when you open it up, there's
Fuck you, Crispy.
no
like
disc
fuck
and
you.
a DLC
Blood.
code.
Fuck you, I know what you're talking about. You're missing my point,
Nick,
people.
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt there will be a disc of this until there is like an Uncharted
That's why
remaster.
I asked the question. Y'all were just like, yes, yes. And I'm like, I don't think y'all are hearing me. I don't think that's what
Well, you
this
should've
Think
used
of
the word
infamous
disc.
DLCs. Remember the infamous DLCs?
You should've used the
Light,
word disc.
Festival of Blood.
Maybe I should have used better terminology.
Yes.
I think this is going to be like First Light or Festival
Well, they
of
said
Blood.
they have confirmed a retail release physical disc. According to Big Wazoo in chat, I didn't see the confirmation.
This
but
is
I'll trust
more
them.
substantial than Left Behind. They said it's somewhere in between like a Left Behind and a proper
Again,
full-length Uncharted.
sure.
So
Not
I'm
talking
guessing
about
it's going to
length.
be like 6-7 hours.
I just want to know how the studio is positioning this game. Are they going to position this? Are they going to print a disc? Are they going to press a disc, put it in a box, put it on a shelf at $40?
You would literally
We'll
care
see.
more about it being on a disc.
Yes.
Let's talk about what this is. This is exciting.
That's all Nick cares.
So
You play as Chloe.
all I
Chloe.
care about.
More discs.
and that was something that everyone was kind of like when she wasn't in Uncharted 4, a lot of people were let
Yes,
down.
or barely in 3.
Yeah, she was barely in 3. And a
I
lot of
forgot
people,
she was even in 3.
Yeah, she was for a little bit. And so that also brings up the next question, is Cutter going to be in this? Because he was another character that people really liked.
He got Nadine though.
I know he got Nadine, but I was
I'm glad that we see more Nadine too.
No, I agree. She wasn't in the game enough for how interesting her character was. So I mean, yes, Chloe's character model was in Uncharted 4 multiplayer, as well as Nadine, as well as Cutter. So I mean, they could potentially have them in this. We'll see what happens. But yeah,
All I know is that,
this will be the first Uncharted game where you're not playing as Nathan Drake.
I know.
and that's kind of exciting.
But like fucking, I love Chloe.
Oh yeah, she was great.
Like, do you understand that people? So you look at like Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider series, right? People are like, oh, this new one, it's like this, like finally she's like a real character, you know? She's not just like this, you know, paper thin fucking, you know,
Yes.
simple character that she used to be, which, you know, was still kind of confident and good at her job and took names and kick ass or whatever the fuck, right? But then they have this new character. She's vulnerable. She's a survivor. She's a woman. Her, you know, breasts aren't gigantic. You know, there's no male gaze or whatever, right? And that's fine. But that character and those stories are so boring.
Wait, why can't they have male gays?
Listen.
Wait, are we talking
Listen.
What's wrong?
Listen.
What's
What's
wrong
wrong with gays?
gay guys?
I hate gay people. Would you stop, Crispy? What I'm saying is, I actually see Chloe as a more like in-depth, interesting, like evolution of what Lara Croft used to be, as opposed to this new boring version we got. So I'm excited just to have an adventure with a proper Lara, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm totally in agreement with you. I think this game looks exciting. We don't know a whole lot about it yet,
don't.
other than
They just showed 8 minutes of her walking around, and then
that was
fighting some dudes.
a really well done trailer
Oh,
too,
yeah.
or demo, because like
No one knew.
nobody knew what the fuck was going on.
Everyone was because I kind of was in Twitch chat a little bit on the main stream because I was trying to set up the feed because I was doing other stuff and I couldn't participate with Chris in the commentary, and everyone was like, "Oh, Lara Croft, Lara Croft, Lara Croft," and like nobody was like, "Maybe this is Uncharted." Nobody said that, and yeah, no, it was very clever. They knew what the fuck they were doing. They like Naughty Dog knew what they
Do you
were
think anybody
doing.
you think anybody from IDOS was in the crowd or Square Enix was sitting there like,
Yeah, I didn't know we were making a new Lara Croft.
They definitely cut these trailers to try to like push the reveal into the last second.
Yeah.
As is evident by the Last of Us Part 2 trailer.
Yeah, we could jump. We could
No,
jump
we
there.
can.
jump straight to that.
It is Naughty
I
Dog.
did want to
What
say.
I wanted to talk about was
Oh my
damn it,
God.
Chris Davis.
Oh my god.
They did announce next.
why?
Okay.
Why? I think it sold okay because it was a launch title, but like
Did I make a hot dog bet
No
about having to
one-
play Knack 2 at some
no
point?
one
Probably.
wanted another Knack game.
But this one has co-op, Brad. This one has co-op.
Nobody wants to play this game. This is the I think where was I? This is a game for dirty little kids who play Beyblade or something. Like who the fuck?
Shit. Holy fuck.
Oh
Who
man.
is this for?
We just lost like 12 viewers.
No, we didn't. Because no one in our audience, not a single
Why do you gotta
person.
pick out the Beyblade players? They never did anything to anybody. Those are nice indoor kids who don't bother anybody.
No.
Hey, Brad.
No.
Brad.
No. No one in our audience cares about Knack 2. No one on the planet cares about Knack 2. What the fuck are they doing? That money,
You know, Brad.
that money could have been spent doing so many other interesting things.
played-
Even like old old Sony system platformers, you know? Why are they remastering Crash Bandicoot and making an all new Knack? Why are they remastering Parappa the Rapper and Loco Roco and Patapon, which, hey, we're also
Pon,
there,
Pon,
but
Patapon.
making an all new Knack?
They could be making an
Why are they doing this?
They could make an all new medieval or medieval.
You know what,
Yes. Yes.
Brad? Probably because it's cheap, because it looks very similar to Knack. Like the assets are all. I think they just kind of reused a lot of the shit.
Time and money, and I don't understand it. Like, and if they're really idiots in some boardroom at Sony that thinks that Knack sold like what it did outside of anything beyond the fact that it was a launch title and fucking Red Steel sells because it was a launch title, like that doesn't mean a sequel's gonna sell. It's not. Just stop it.
We'll have to wait and see.
Stop it. Stop.
You were talking about some other games, like Crash Bandicoot's getting a remaster of the trilogy.
I think it looks okay.
And
I feel like it's losing.
Wait, was that a
little bit of
remaster or a remake? I remember that. Looking pretty
It's a remake.
They call it a remaster, but it is a remake. They completely redid it. Yeah.
fucking using the wrong words.
Oh,
Fuck Crash
also, like you said, Parappa the Rappa and Patapon are getting remakes,
And Loco Roco.
and Loco Roco. And holy shit, the fucking Parappa the Rappa looks really good.
They look good. I played the demo.
Yeah,
Sweden
I'm
Chambers.
kind of excited for that. Well, what else? That's when they announced Let It Die. Well, we already talked about that.
Which we've already played because it's out now.
They talk a lot about Marvel versus Capcom.
By the way,
That was a big announcement, you know,
Yeah.
because there's so much like crazy like rights issues
Oh,
in making that game that a lot of people like the fact that even Marvel vs. Capcom 3 got made was a shock to people because it had been over 10 years and it was just, you know, so many moving parts. In fact, if you go back to Marvel vs. Capcom 3, so many like DLCs and shit got pulled down because of rights issues. Like, and people love it, you know, and the FGC. So it's nice to see it come back.
did they confirm the roster y'all were talking about last week?
No, I mean
No.
they do have Captain Marvel.
They showed Captain Marvel, Iron Man, Ryu, Mega Man X, and at the end of the trailer they show Thanos.
Yeah.
Which they were all confirmed.
Were they in that roster
and
that y'all were talking about last
Morgan
week?
from
All
the-
that
The,
stuff.
the roster the roster from last week was only Marvel characters, and it did not have Captain Marvel. It had Miss Marvel, who was a different character.
Yep.
But it did not have Captain
Can
Marvel.
we talk about Captain Marvel? Because I know. No, real quick. I agree with you. I looked at that trailer and I know why it looks off. And it's not because they sexualized her or whatever. I don't think they did. She's got like a weird kind of young anime looking face.
Yeah,
it
they
looks
fucking
bad.
they fucking I don't know.
She's got the character of like she's got the face of a
Yeah.
character of a younger female from like a JRPG, and it looks off.
It just makes me like the first thing I thought of was like when they were trying to redesign Faith from Mirror's Edge
Yeah.
after they announced Catalyst. They were trying to like play around with all these redesigns for like the Asian audiences because the Asian audiences just could not deal with a girl that wasn't like fucking
Voluptuous?
Barbie doll figured like yeah.
Thanos,
And like that
but
like
her figure doesn't really seem
I'm trying to find the Captain
like
Marvel.
exaggerated or anything.
no, it seems
There's
like
footage out
Oh,
there.
wait, is this her?
Yeah, right. You see what I'm saying? Like it looks like a character from Tekken.
Yeah, okay, but compare that to like how she looks in her own book. You know?
Yeah, I've seen the book version. That's weird looking.
Yeah,
I
don't like it. I don't like it.
But I think overall, and they showed gameplay. They did it at the end of Capcom Cup, which by the way, America 1 and 2 in Street Fighter 5, which has never happened before.
Nope.
At the Capcom Cup, but it looks kind of not really up to snuff compared to other Capcom fighting games.
It's not my
It
scene,
seems
so.
a little budget. Like it doesn't look as vibrant as like a new Street Fighter or even Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So I'm a little worried because I know Capcom has been struggling, especially with like Street Fighter and. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, like I thought Mega Man
Looked a little
I thought
King of Fighters 14.
Well, I thought he looked cool, but like he's like his character design is so simplistic. Like it's all
Yeah.
these curved edges. Like there's not a lot of
Flat-shaded.
detail to him.
Yeah.
Ryu looks exactly like he did in Street Fighter 5.
No, I mean he looks more like Street Fighter 4 Ryu. Like it's not detailed.
No.
It's not.
4. Yeah.
No, but that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Many years.
And Iron Man looks like
Iron Man.
yeah. I mean,
But he's
like not
armored.
even like a cool looking guy. He just looks like fucking Iron Man.
Yeah, fucking movie Iron Man.
He looks like
On a slightly
Maybe
related note,
oh.
well, I was
Go ahead.
this announcement of Marvel vs. Capcom 4 kind of led into another news topic I wanted to bring up. I'll just kind of insert it into the middle of our PlayStation Experience talk. Following the announcement of Marvel vs. Capcom 4, Capcom went on record saying that they are starting to explore reviving classic franchises from their catalog.
Yeah.
So that suddenly puts games like fucking.
But this is not a revival. I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 it was played in
No,
Evo
but this is
up to
but
this
this
year.
is the first time that Capcom is saying that they want to go back and look at franchises they haven't looked at in
I
years.
hope that means Onimusha,
that means
Dino
Dino Crisis.
and Shadow not Shadows of the Empire, Shadow of Rome.
Oh, Shadow of Rome.
Fucking love that game.
A couple other things I wanted to bring up from PSX. They showed Ni no Kuni 2, some new footage from that.
Ni no Kuni. Now imagine if this new Ni no Kuni was just called Ni no Kuni.
Yeah. That looked pretty good. Some of the footage they were showing, it looks
The
pretty-
combat system is
it looks different.
action RPG now.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for this.
Because that was I feel like the combat was the big issue. With
Excited
that
to go
first
back to Ding Dong Dell.
game. Although in the world map, the characters are chibi,
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
which is weird.
And the last game they were like regular size, but on the world map, which is
Yeah,
kind
It
of
was like the map itself was chibi, but they
Yeah.
were normal.
But I
This is
like
weird.
that. I don't know.
They did also showed some more Gravity Rush footage. You can now play as Raven or Gravity Rush 2.
That's free
And
DLC.
then they showed
Free DLC.
free DLC. They showed some Nier Automata footage and
Yeah.
gave it a release date. And apparently just now, there's a demo coming out.
Yeah.
to
Yeah, no,
PlayStation.
that's been.
I didn't realize it was coming out on the 22nd though. So in like
And I
like
think
15 days.
I think there's also a crazy looking collector's edition of that
yeah,
game.
no, there
coming
is.
out.
There is.
Which is absurd.
Which is
weird. Which is weird. Who's gonna buy that? Nier is like the definition of a tiny little niche game that
Yeah.
even got terrible reviews.
But-
what?
But and there's a bunch of other announcements at PSX as well. Like, but holy shit! Like you were saying, it was almost like a mini E3. They showed so much,
Dude,
in
they
an
showed
hour and a half.
They showed
or whatever.
They showed a new trailer for Horizon,
A new Horizon trailer.
which was
Dude, they
story
showed a lot
focused, I
of
think,
stuff.
which looked pretty good.
But then, yeah, like Chrissy was saying earlier, they closed the show with a fucking surprise, and everyone was like, "What is this? Like, I can't tell what this is." And it's like zooming out, and I was like, "This looks like The Last of Us 2, but it's probably not."
Well,
And
it was
they-
heavily
Yeah, it was,
suggested.
yeah, it was suggested it was going
that
to
it
be
would be
there,
there.
and
Rumored.
no one was 100% sure until it zoomed out and showed the stop sign with the Firefly logo on it, and then it was like, "Holy
And
shit!"
people lost their shit.
Oh my god, the audience went crazy, and then we thought it was done because it showed the Naughty Dog logo, and we're like, "All right, that's cool." But then they had the whole cutscene of like Ellie playing a guitar, and then all this other stuff, and that's just got me so fucking excited.
yeah.
Like I am so excited for The Last of Us
Yeah.
Part 2.
It's funny because this is, and I think Crispy's tweet today was actually pretty much on point. What I retweeted, it was, what did you say, Crispy? You were like,
from yesterday?
where you said something like, I never wanted to try, I never
Yeah.
wanted a sequel to The Last of
I
Us, but
said
now that I know it's,
1,000 times I don't
Yeah.
want a sequel to this game, but now that I know that it's happening, it's the only thing I want.
yeah,
Like,
it's that's
pretty
that's,
much.
that's like the more I think about it, and the more I watch that trailer.
Oh,
'cause
I've watched it like 5 or
several
6 times. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The more I watch it, I'm like, yeah, I kind of want it.
I've been listening to that Sean James song on repeat for like days
it's
now.
like the trailer is so fucking well done, and I think, I still stand by what a lot of people feel, and I feel the same way. Like The Last of Us wrapped up near
Had a
perfect.
great
It's
ending.
almost fucking perfect. I think The Last of Us is probably the high point of storytelling in video
I was loving that game, playing it, thinking in my head, they're gonna fuck this up at the end.
Yeah.
Like, I remember having already fallen in love with that game and still being worried about the ending of that game, and they fucking stuck the landing, and I was like,
ending.
10 out of 10.
great. Don't do anything else. Never.
And that was the funny
fuck
thing.
with this.
Is everyone was like, I can't wait for The Last of Us because they're gonna have new characters. It's gonna be completely different, and I don't want Joel and Ellie. A lot of people were saying that, and all of a sudden now they announce it with Joel and Ellie. Everyone's like, I can't wait for Joel and Ellie. Like everyone's.
It's hard. What are you supposed to do?
It's hard to not be excited.
when people say they don't want to see more of these characters, it's because their story's already perfect.
It's out of
I feel like
respect for the
those people
characters.
love those characters just as much as anyone.
No, I agree. The reason they didn't, like Chrissy was saying,
they
stuck the landing.
stuck the landing. Now they have a chance to fuck it up.
I agree that they potentially could fuck it up royally, but I have faith. I'm putting my faith in
And this
them.
is what I said. I
There's
think
aspects of certain
if there is
Uncharted games
if
that
there is
were
any
disappointing.
studio that could pull off such an unnecessary sequel, I think it's Naughty Dog.
Well, hold on, Brad. To that regard, Uncharted 1 was great. 2 was better. 3, downhill. 4, better. Right?
Yeah,
Well,
I think it's pretty accurate.
I'm more in the camp that Uncharted 4 is closer to 3 than 2, but
Okay. But you Uncharted 4 got better than Uncharted 3. Like, it had a good story.
story
you enjoyed
is
it.
great. But
And who worked on the story of Uncharted 4?
Neil Druckmann.
Who's working on the story of Uncharted 1 and 2?
Was it Neil Druckmann?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
no, you mean Last of Us 1 and 2.
Sorry, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. I meant, yeah, The Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2 is Neil Druckmann.
Yes.
So I have my faith that it won't be a royal fuck up.
Neil Druckmann seems to know what he's doing.
Well, but I know, but like if they're good at creating characters, and I see a lot of I don't know. Like at first, it's like, oh, these are new characters. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
It's like starting like the season 2 of The Wire and going, who are these characters? These aren't the ones I love from the first season. But then you give it time and it's like, oh, yeah, these people know what they're doing. I don't. You know what?
God, can you imagine though?
I said I didn't want to see more, but then I played Left Behind, and I may have even loved it more than the original.
Right? Because they can take a character and a story and fucking make it great.
But you know what? That they created a new character for that, it was great.
It's a ballsy move. But if they stick the landing a second time, Jesus Christ.
And they've already said, Neil Druckmann has said in an interview directly following that you play as Ellie in this. You don't play as Joel. It's like the opposite.
I wonder if that
You
means that
understand,
it's
sticking the landing, though, it's not just sticking the landing. The nature of that ending,
yeah.
more so than any other game, says there didn't need to be more.
Correct.
True.
Correct. But
But you also got to think of it. You also should think of it. This is what I like to think about. Sure, the story ended perfectly.
Yes.
Didn't need to be. Nothing else needed to be told.
Correct.
But look at the world they're living in. Look at the characters they've created in this world. You got to know there's going to be other stories maybe worth telling.
Yeah.
That. I'm sure that was not the end of their adventure. Like, it was not like, okay, we gave them this perfect ending, and then like nothing exciting ever happened in their life after that point that people would want to hear.
Or they died around the corner.
Or maybe they did.
But we didn't need to know. I don't know.
Sure, and there's always that argument to be made, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I think they're taking an awful risk here, but it's also fucking exciting.
I am excited for the potential that this game holds.
Yeah,
I love them. There was
Nothing will hurt more than if this game comes out and disappoints.
Obviously.
But I mean, a lot of people felt that way about Uncharted 3.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I'm the only one here who's recently gone back and played Uncharted 3. I don't think it's as bad as people remember it.
No,
it's
no,
a pretty
it's not.
fucking good game.
I'm an Uncharted 3 defender, but
I just think Uncharted 2 is up there with The Last of Us 1 in terms of its presentation and
definitely,
story. And
definitely.
I don't remember the ending being as tight
no,
and
it
perfect as
wasn't.
Last of Us.
But that being said, this could be a an Uncharted 3 situation where it's not as good as the first one. But I still think it's going to be a good game.
Sure.
The question I have is, where's Factions 2? They've not said a thing about it. Jaeger and I have been tweeting on the devs for Naughty Dog multiplayer.
Already putting that pressure on him?
Hey, I tweeted at him and I said, hey, is Factions 2 a thing? Just don't respond if it is. And he hasn't responded. So
it can go away. Look at Assassin's Creed. Look at Ratchet and Clank. Those are both series that had really dope-ass multiplayer that all of a sudden
don't you put that evil on me.
Just
don't you
away.
Fucking put that evil on me.
But
what are they
Factions
working on?
was successful though, right?
Huh? Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, so of course they'll make it more.
Especially on PS4.
Oh, God,
when
yeah.
when the main bundle that they were putting out there was PS4 with Last of Us, like that was probably one of the best performing multiplayer games on the system at the time.
Yeah.
There were so many.
Yeah, so
playing.
of course it'll be back.
So I think...
Plus it was in 4.
Plus it'll give me a chance to hop in, maybe
You keep saying that.
Start from the bottom.
What? I never obtained a copy of
Hey Nick,
Last of Us on PS4.
What?
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Why would a
like $8
ghost
Did
be
you?
carrying
Did
a
you really
gun?
have to bring this up?
Why would a ghost be carrying a gun, Nick?
Because it's in her fucking head.
Stop it.
Yeah, let's not talk about that right now.
But if she knows,
First of all, I don't want to perpetuate this theory any more than you do, because I'm not saying that I'm
Stop
necessarily...
it.
it's really dumb.
You had to bring this
You
up.
just want to
I didn't
talk
bring this
about
up.
it. You don't.
All right, so let's move on.
Let's move on to the community. We do have...
the
was there anything else in
community.
PSX we needed to talk about? I don't think so.
There was a bunch of other things, but I don't think
stuff.
anything we need to talk about.
stuff.
There's all lots of stuff. So
Full Throttle's coming back.
why don't we jump into...
The community.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
All right, it's community part of the show. We talk about the community because the people we love, and we love them, and they love us, and we love each other intimately. So I will say that it is a new month, and we did pick a new supporter of the month, and we know they're an active member of our community.
Have you seen them in chat tonight?
Not tonight. I saw them in chat the other day, and I was like, hey, I sent you a message. Look at it. And they didn't respond.
I think Let It Die was his suggestion.
Oh, God.
Whom?
Their name...
Rainfire?
Rainfire? Rain One Fire?
Rain... Let's just call them Rainfire.
Rainfire?
Because we're not monsters.
Yeah, and I haven't seen him in chat the past couple of days. It was during Game Awards. I saw him in chat, and I was like, hey, you, look at your Twitch
You're
messages.
the one. We'll continue to try and reach out to Rainfire.
Because
And if he hasn't responded by next week...
Yeah, no, normally what happens is if someone wins and they don't respond, I pick someone new. But that's usually often because I don't recognize the chatter, and I know that maybe they're not super active. But it's a super active community member.
You should also check Discord to see if they're a member
They're
of
not.
Discord.
I checked. They also haven't linked their Twitch account to our website, where it usually will have an email.
Do they even exist?
Yes. Like I said, I saw them in chat the other day. Anyway, yes, thank you. It is Rainfire, but the I is a
Maybe they're
1.
ghost.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let's get to some questions from our patrons. The patrons, the people that we love. Also, no new patrons this week.
Okay.
So moving on. First question this week from the Metal Button.
The metal button.
I remember the PSX announcement.
What?
We're getting all of the Yakuza games.
Oh, yeah.
Yakuza 6 is coming. The remake of Yakuza 1 is coming.
Kiwami? Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy. I'm excited about Yakuza
Come to the
6
West.
too. I played that demo.
Jack
and
was
it
also
cool.
ecstatic.
All right, taking a public survey, and I wanted to know where 4Player stands. Humans are on the brink of going extinct, and apes and robots are at war to take over the planet. Each side is equally matched, and you lead the last resistance of man to join a side to save humanity. Which side would you team up with to overthrow the other, and why? Personally, I'm with apes to begin the cross-species super race when we kill the robots.
He also threw in that, side note, I've asked 2 radio stations in Toronto, and it's a 50-50 split.
Oh,
So we're basically choosing to side with humans or robots?
I mean,
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
a monkey,
I don't like those
I'm a
odds.
woman.
I don't feel like I could. I don't feel like I could be the savior of humanity, but I could be its end. I'd just kill the rest of the humans, and then probably kill myself.
Are these like sentient apes?
I
Are
hope
these
it's
like,
never on your shoulders.
Are these
Crispy.
like Planet of the apes? Like they fucking wear clothes and quote like Shakespeare? Or are they just like monkeys? You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
He doesn't specify. There's
Yeah.
not enough information to
say
make
human
a,
stock,
there's not
like,
enough information provided to make a smart decision.
so that's kind of one of my questions. Are these like, what kind of robots are these? Are these like iRobot robots? Or are they like cool robots?
Yeah, you know, the real answer is you can't fight the singularity.
That's true.
Like, you just can't fight it.
Yeah.
You should just surrender to the machines. The apes should too if they know it's good for
Why
them.
can't we just make love, not war?
So I think the
And just
answer
have
we've
big
all decided.
ape-human robot
I think the
orgies?
unanimous answer here is we need more information before we can make a succinct
I
decision.
definitely want sex robots.
No. Oh, we steal technology
take
from
over
the
the world?
robots. Like
Yeah?
Death by Snoo Snoo.
we need to steal technology from the robots like that shit in Soma where we just upload our consciousnesses into a satellite and then shoot it into space. And just completely avoid the whole thing.
I'm going robots.
That was a
I
cool.
mean, that's basically robots.
Yeah,
but
going robots. All right, anyway, next question from Zerby.
Terrible.
Nordic THQ just finished remastering the first Darksiders game. What do you think the company's future goals will be? Do you think that they'll try to create Darksiders 3? What do you think the gameplay would be like compared to 1 and 2? Which horseman should be next? Oh my god, he has too many questions.
Well, let's
I
start.
want a new Red Faction game. They have the Red Faction IP.
Yeah, they do own that IP. So, I mean, so...
I think Darksiders is more likely.
Yeah, no, I agree. So the thing is, Darksiders 2 was a big improvement over the first Darksiders, but it was too much of the same.
Yeah.
Like, I played the first Darksiders and I loved it. I think all of us here who played it loved Darksiders. It was a great game.
I think we all enjoyed both Darksiders games.
And- no,
Darksiders
yeah.
2 is very much like a... That's the one we were comparing it to a lot of like Zelda and Shadow of the
Yes.
Colossus.
Diablo.
Did you finish
Diablo.
Darksiders 2?
Yeah.
I never got to the end.
I didn't
that
finish
game
it
was
either.
monstrous.
But yeah, and I think
finished
that's one of the reasons is because it was such a big game that I just kind of was... I just got overwhelmed.
I wouldn't mind seeing a new entry in Darksiders, the Darksiders series. However,
Oh, yeah.
one part of me makes me wonder how different, like how would it look and feel, and like it would be a different studio.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how much of that magic would carry over. But
Yeah.
you know,
But I agree with Brad's statement that I would rather see a good Red Faction
well,
sequel.
I'm not totally in disagreement with you here. I think that the fact that they're already releasing a remaster shows kind of the direction of the kind of implies their intent.
Potentially, yeah.
So
All right, next question from Prince of the Universe. Having played more than a few hours of The Last Guardian, the one thing that really stands out is how Trico really feels like a living, breathing animal.
that's what I said.
He really feels like another player experiencing everything for the first time along with you. So my question to you guys is, who is your favorite companion character in any game? It doesn't have to be an animal, just a character who made you feel like there was actually someone with you rather than a resource to be used. I think your partner in Journey was pretty good.
That's a good one, Nolan. Two that come to mind. One,
Yorda.
I wasn't going to say that, but that's a good one. I was going to say
Ellie.
in The Last of Us.
Oh, God,
and the
yeah.
other one being, I saw someone mention this game in chat. I had completely forgotten about this game, but I played it and I loved it the year it came out. Majin and the Forsaken Kingdom.
Holy shit. That game was announced
I forgot about
after
that
The Last
game.
Guardian. It came out and that studio was shut down like 5 years before Last Guardian came out.
I forgot about that
But
game.
I played that game and I love that game, and a
Yeah.
lot of the reason I like that game was because of your companion character in that
Yeah.
game. And I think that game is tremendously underrated. I
Yeah.
mean, it was a budget game.
No,
and not many
that's-
people played it.
That's a cool studio. They also did that folklore game on PS3 and it's
So
a shame.
Majin and the Forsaken Kingdom.
But that's still I would go
Horse from Red Dead.
I was going to say Aggro from Shadow of the Colossus, but he didn't really do a whole
Garrus
lot.
Vicarian.
it's a good
I need to do some calibrations. And then he does that BioWare conversational thing, like everybody in every BioWare game does, where if they're talking to you, they'll go like
They'll move their hands a lot.
they do the exact same sequence of motions, and then when they're gonna leave the frame, like when they're done talking to you and they're gonna leave the camera frame, they like turn their head and then they walk away. Like
Alex Vance.
I've played
is a
too
great
many
one from
BioWare
Half-Life 2. You know what? I'm gonna add, and I know I haven't finished the game, but my bros in Final Fantasy 15, man.
Do they suck?
No,
Dude, they suck.
Dude, anytime I'm in danger, it takes them like an hour to come over and pick me up.
but like they feel like bros, man.
The relationship,
It-
though.
but when you're broing down and broing out and broing it up,
Yeah,
like,
but like I love when we're riding chocobos and like Ignis like I'm going on ahead, you know, and just to see them run around and sometimes they'll just jump randomly and
Yeah.
stuff. It's I feel a connection, man.
Have you ever called your chocobos and turned around and they were all stacked on each other? That happened to me once. They were just a chocobo on a chocobo on a chocobo, and the guys were all just like, "Wah." And I was like, what the fuck?
I did once call my chocobos, and for 5 hours they didn't come.
Yeah, that sucks. Brad had a glitch that some other people have had.
Why for 5 hours?
It just happened to be how long it was. I think that there's a couple others, but I'm having trouble remember off the top of my head. There's been some pretty good companions.
I think we covered our bases pretty well here.
I
Let's move
agree.
on.
All right, from Umidori, if you could pick just one more Hollywood actor personality to appear in a work with Kojima for Death Stranding, who would it be? Man, this is an expensive game.
Hollywood actor.
I don't think they can afford any more actors.
I know.
Wes Anderson.
Add a Hollywood actor. to
Sure.
Death
Just throw him into the
Oh my
mix.
God, what would that game be? What would a Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, Wes Anderson game be? Like, what the I can't even comprehend
That's
that.
not. Yeah, what?
That's
not
not
possible.
possible.
Stop it.
Like,
Just stop it.
like my brain literally cannot.
if you're gonna put directors in the game, like the parts of the game that they're in should reflect their directorial style.
Hideo Kojima and
So like when you
Quentin
play
Tarantino.
when Wes Anderson shows up in the game, like the game becomes like a 2D side scroller, like at a really wide angle with really colorful
Quentin Tarantino.
composition.
Dude, fuck it. Just put
Cross with Hideo Kojima. That's a good
Katy
mix.
Perry. Throw her in
That's
there.
not an actress or an actor or a director.
She was in that one movie about herself.
Okay.
Wait, I thought we said Hollywood talent.
Yeah.
She's neither Hollywood nor talent.
Oh fuck you!
rude.
I would throw Dennis Quaid in there.
DQ.
Sure, why the fuck
just-
not?
Something different.
I love
Throw
Dennis
Randy
Quaid.
Quaid.
No, fuck Randy Quaid. Dennis Quaid's better. And Dennis Quaid.
Randy Quaid is probably in a mental health facility somewhere
God.
right now.
So
Saying
what was
Dennis
that
Quaid
one?
is better than Randy
Was there a video of
Quaid
him
is like
fucking-
saying
Yeah.
pizza's
like
better
going
than
insane on
than
the
poop.
internet.
Oh, that's crazy.
He said
Randy
that.
Quaid is that much better.
Yeah.
Anyway, a couple more questions. I quickly get through them real quick. Big Baz, I plan on going to Maryland this Christmas, but it isn't working out so well. What are your Christmas plans?
I couldn't tell if that was like just a general, what are y'all doing for Christmas? Or, hey, I'm not going here anymore. Can I come hang out with y'all?
I'm working on Christmas.
What?
Christmas is falling on the weekend, and I'm the guy.
I'm going home for 10 days.
Oh, wow.
I'm not really looking forward to it.
What's Christmas like in Florida?
I mean, it's
People
like
put lights on the palm trees?
I'm going home to visit my family, with whom I love, and I don't mind spending 10 days with my family whatsoever. It's just that they live in the town that I grew up in, where none of my friends still live there, and it's just like not great. And I just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
It's almost as bad
that
as
would be a
working.
great
on
time.
Take my PS4.
Great
and
time to reconnect with video
just stay in my
games.
parents'
Sounds
house
like.
for a week, and
What are you gonna do?
yeah.
You could play a game.
Seems like a long way to drive. Just to...
I'm going to be spending my Christmas in Austin, probably partially with my family, partially with my friends.
Oh, you get to see your families on Christmas. That's nice.
Yeah. Way to make me feel like an asshole.
I mean, I don't think we have any major plans. So,
I think we were going to be hanging out with, who's this? Big Bass? That was.
it's a low-key Christmas for me.
All right, next question.
I did. Bernard and I did buy a Christmas tree, a real one, on Saturday in the rain, and I shoved it in the back of my sedan.
Ooh, buying Christmas trees in the rain is bad because the spores they release when they get wet like that in your house could really be bad for your allergies.
Well, I don't have any allergies to Christmas trees.
Oh, this is thrilling conversation, guys.
Shut the
Let's
fuck
move
up.
on.
It's just funny though because I went to the place. HEB is where I bought my tree.
Spores.
And I show up and he's like, "Oh, what kind of truck you got?" I was like, "I got a Camry," and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna shove it in the back."
They don't tie it to the roof?
I don't want them to tie it to my roof. They fuck up my roof.
Point is, he already got it home. It's fine.
And yeah, no, and the guy was like, "I don't think it's gonna fit," and I was like, "It'll fit," and it mostly fit.
What size tree did you
9
get?
feet.
Probably 8.5 feet. It's pretty fucking big.
What?
Yeah.
You fit an 8.5-foot tree in a
don't think
fucking
he fit
Camry?
it.
Well,
I think
I mean, so I wrapped it really. I had a tarp with me, and I wrapped it really tight and bungeed it, and then shoved it in because the seats fold down. And
So you put it in through the trunk,
yeah, and
through the back seat,
into the back seat,
in between the front seats,
and then
bent it down to tucked into the feet on the passenger side.
If the trunk would have been like 3 inches shorter, it would have completely fit in. But so it didn't. So I had to close the thing and bungee it closed, and it just had like 3 inches of trunk sticking out the back of my car. But I got it home. It's I think a Noble for I don't fucking know. It's a Christmas tree. Shut
Next
the fuck
question.
up.
Last question.
Chris Davis's
There's
knowledge
there's
of
two more
Christmas.
questions. They both refer to Final Fantasy 15. One from Velis asking about
Prompto. Fuck Prompto. Mary. Glad.
It's a very long question. Kind of he's irked by the amount of side quests in Final Fantasy 15 because he
I
likes.
think he references specifically the fact that they're very MMO-like.
Yeah, no, there is. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of fetch quests and stuff like that. But he likes to do them all. And so he wants to. He said, I suppose a great deal of people will ignore side quests and not have this issue, but he wants to experience everything a game has to offer, as he suspects other people do as well. He said, maybe I should just mainline the story for a while. What are your thoughts? Open world structure? Do you enjoy the side quest? So I will say to that,
Cherry pick.
cherry pick if you want. If you see a side quest is interesting, do it. If you don't, skip it. Do the main story because post credits, I think you can go back to and just do everything you want.
Yeah.
And so I would say, yeah, maybe.
The world does not end. Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. But no, so yeah, I would say. I mean, how many Final Fantasy games does the world end?
It wasn't
Exactly.
Final
Except
Fantasy
for-
7.
Except
It wasn't all a dream. Like
Oh yeah.
Final Fantasy 8, they don't let you back into any fucking city or civilization.
So I would say in this
Disc
case,
4, everything's locked.
yeah.
You can walk up to it, you just can't go in.
I would say beeline the story. Like I said, if you want to pick and choose some stuff, maybe do that. But yeah, that's what. And yes, I will agree. There is a massive fucking.
I
number
don't
of
really
side
go
quests.
into every time I sit down for a play session, especially with this game. I don't really sit there and like think about everything I'm gonna do. I just kind of just
You start doing stuff.
I just start
You
doing
see something
stuff.
interesting, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do
It's
this.
a very fluid experience for me. I just kind of just do. I just do me. You know.
Final question, real quick, from one Mr. Boy. Very excited about Final Fantasy 15 gets OCD story information. He says, in your opinion, what should come first, the 2 movies or the game? Also, are there any demos I should go back? He's just asking kind of about that, and we kind of talked about this at the very beginning of the show.
I would watch Brotherhood and
that Kingsglaive is a must.
you have to watch Kingsglaive.
If you aren't feeling the relationship between the guys, or if you just want to, then yeah, watch Brotherhood.
Brotherhood literally is an hour and 4 minutes long, and you can
Yeah.
watch it on YouTube. for
Also,
free.
while we're on the subject of Final Fantasy 15, how have we not mentioned that? What's that guy's name? Dino. His voice is ridiculous.
Oh,
Yeah.
It is
It
ridiculous.
does not match his character like
doesn't.
at all. Like
Yeah.
doesn't match.
it's a little weird. I mean, it's kind of in the same vein as like, why is everybody
Yeah,
in
it's
this
like
world
Southern
speaking with
accent.
Southern accents?
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? And then there's this one guy who sounds like he's from Brooklyn or something.
Yeah, he's like, or something like that.
Yeah, he's got this.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he says
Hey,
forget
I'm
about it.
walking over here.
He says,
like, you might
that's
have,
more
like-
Boston. But he says, at one point, he says, forget about it. And it's spelled like, forget
Forget
about it. It's,
about it in
like,
one
it's
word,
fucking
yeah.
weird.
He's just he's the worst.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
I don't think you've done any of his quests, because I was playing your
He's at
game
the end of
earlier.
that fucking dock.
Yeah, he
You
has a
gotta
lot of-
talk to that guy.
He has a lot of quests.
Does he go somewhere else?
Nope.
Then fuck that guy.
Yep.
I'm never walking down that dumbass dock again.
Hey.
All right. But
By
anyway.
the way, important note. So if you ever happen to find yourself in that dock again and you're like, oh, it's getting dark out, maybe I should rest somewhere. You actually get experience bonuses for sleeping at inns as opposed to
that
camping.
end's kind of ridiculous.
But don't ever just pick an
Because
inn
that
and
one's
start
15,000 gil.
10,000.
10,000 gil.
Like,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
ever just assume, oh, it's a hotel. I'll stay there for like $100 or whatever, and just click through it. 10,000 gil.
You do get 2x experience.
Yeah, but if you try and
10,000
if you
gil.
only happen to have like a handful, like,
Oh,
like
well,
a
then you're
small
fucked.
handful of experience, and you accidentally click through it, you just spent $10,000. You didn't get much of an experience
See,
bonus.
I did
and you're
sleep there
stupid.
once, but that's because I had 25,000 experience
I think
banked.
they make you sleep there for a story mission.
For a story mission,
But
they
they
do.
don't charge you.
They don't charge you. But I slept there once paying, and I had 25,000, so I got 50,000 experience.
See, that's
which
good.
was nice. I went up 10 levels.
That's good.
Yeah. But anyway,
that would be a good time to use 10,000 gil.
exactly. That's all the questions we had this week from our patrons. Every week we post a thread on patreon.com/4player. Any of our patrons are welcome to go and ask us any question they would like.
Speaking of which, I just want to go ahead and say this right now. We've been working on some changes, some updates, some new stuff for our Patreon campaign. We'll be launching that soon-ish.
Yep.
Gotta work some stuff out. I would expect some major changes to our Patreon campaign in December or January, somewhere in there.
Yep.
It is December.
It
maybe
is.
maybe January.
Yeah.
Oh, and
do that after.
yeah, I'll do that after.
Let's wrap things up with the 4-player minute. Nick,
Let's
you think
go.
that'd be a good idea?
I think
I am going to go first what is our 4-player minute? It's
Hype,
where we
sweat,
talk
fuck
about
you, and
whatever
thank
the
you.
fuck we want. And this week, I'm going to do 4 things I'm hyped about that all come out in January. All from Japanese developers.
Oh, you're crazy.
It's like they don't even care. The end of one year, the beginning of the next, who gives a shit?
Fucking
You know,
weeaboo
it's
over
just
here.
games. Well, I mean,
Just say them. Just say them.
January, man, January. First one, Gravity Rush 2, which
Yep.
they showed at PSX, looking great.
It does.
I think that was actually
I
a
played
bad
that-
trailer. Like they need to show
Yeah.
someone playing that game.
Played that at
when you
E3.
edit like story.
The
shit
funny
together,
thing was, I was watching that and I was like, "This is Gravity Rush." And I was, I'm like, "This is this Gravity Rush?" Like it looks like it, but it's weird. Like some of the stuff they were doing was kind of weird.
yeah,
and I
just
was like,
just show the
Yeah.
lady flying through the air fighting things
because they didn't even show her in the.
that's
that
the most
trailer.
remarkable.
Because
Well,
the trailer was all about Raven, but still, anyway.
she's gonna be playable.
'Cause I know she's playable. I know.
Yakuza 0, right? That comes out in January. right?
Yep, I think so. Yeah.
Yakuza 0. I can't wait. You know, it's Yakuza in the 80s, so it's sort of like when Japan had like so much money and everything was like the wine was flowing and just cool 80s Yakuza. I can't wait. The suits look crazy.
Yep.
Resident Evil 7. I'm actually kind of
The
turning
demo just came out. for
turning
that.
a little bit. There's a lot of footage out
Some of
there
the stuff
now.
they showed at PSX was or PSX, right? Yeah.
There was a day where there was a bunch of preview coverage that came out along with a bunch
Well,
of
at PSX they showed a bunch of gameplay and like, oh my, that's a Resident Evil game. Like they actually showed like stuff going on.
Pretty excited.
And so after watching that gameplay footage, I'll say that I'm kind of turning a corner. I don't know if it's going to be the Resident Evil that I really want, but I'm pretty confident that that game is going to be very fucking scary.
Oh yeah.
And, it's probably going to end up feeling more like a Condemned game or like an Alien Isolation where
I
you're
think
hiding
so.
a lot and stuff. But it's going to be scary, and that's good. Hopefully Evil Within 2 comes out. And my final hype is Tales of Berseria also comes out in January, which is crazy. It's soon.
I'm not excited for that new Yeast game.
That's not in January.
Oh, yeah, it's not January.
It's a series that I keep returning to. I'll probably always just give it a shot. And if this one is good, and I've heard some things about people who've played the Japanese release that this one is a lot better than Zestiria, I'll probably give it a shot. So, I mean, my plate is full in January, so it's all hype for me, baby.
Sweet. Nolan?
All right, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype is actually not game related. It's for that fucking new Spider-Man trailer that's going to come out tomorrow.
Ooh, yeah.
They released a teaser for a trailer, and man, I was surprised at how excited that teaser got me. Like, I'm really excited for this new Spider-Man
I think
movie.
a lot of
Really
it.
teased you.
It did.
I
It
think a
did.
lot of it really does stem from Tom Holland.
No, it does. Tom Holland, I think, he did a really good job. At first, I was kind of not excited about Tom Holland when they first announced him. I didn't really.
He's the most genuine Peter Parker that's ever been
But
on
yes,
screen. for
his
sure.
performance in Civil War was fantastic. I'm really excited for Homecoming.
Just watching him freak out over his new suit in the teaser, I was like, oh,
yeah.
this is really good.
My sweat is going to go to The Last Guardian just because of how rocky of a start I had with it. I really hope that doesn't affect the rest of my playthrough. I kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, and you can tell if you watch the stream. Like it took me a while to actually get back into it, but after I started feeling a little more. So hopefully that kind of just gets over and done with, and I can go. A fuck you this week is gonna go to Randy Pitchford. Just fuck you for getting up there and being so excited about shit.
About
Like.
Just because he needs it every once in a while.
Yeah, it's just
fuck
like
you.
he's like, I'm excited for this game. We bought and we own, so you're gonna fucking love it. And if you don't want to play it, then fuck you. Like he's just like, ugh. And then my thank you this week is gonna go to Naughty Dog.
Bitch.
Like, oh my god, like Last of Us was a fucking amazing game. And I bought it when it came out. Or sorry, I didn't buy it. Someone gifted it to me actually. I was gonna buy it, but someone was like, "Hey, I have an extra code for it," so they gifted me Remastered.
Yeah.
I've played like about 100 hours of Factions, but I haven't played Remastered, the actual game. And so I'm thinking it's probably about time, maybe once this end of the year stuff's over, to go back and replay through the last.
I have.
I know, Brad. I know it's never over.
Dude.
But I
The remastered version's so good.
I know, and that's why I'm finally
it had
gonna...
issues on PS4 Pro, but I think they removed what was causing the issues.
Perfect time for me to play it then.
think-
You know what?
Or they're going
It wouldn't
to.
be a problem if you also had a PlayStation original
What was
in your
causing
home as
the
well.
That's
issue?
true. That's true.
I don't though.
The thing
I
that was
sold
causing
mine.
the issues was shivs, though, so now you have to play without shivs.
I can do that, and that's my 4-player.
Crispy?
Okay, I've got 2 hypes this week. 2 hypes, that's right. First one, obviously, for Last of Us Part 2.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking hyped, man. I
Yes.
can't help it. It's the only piece of gaming news in the last 2 weeks that's been able to touch my icy cold heart.
I do want to say, I think you should take the time to watch that Mass Effect footage.
Oh, I will.
Not just that, but
That might tickle your balls a little
you
bit.
played Uncharted 4,
He hasn't played any Uncharted game ever.
Never played
which is weird. Someone who loves
Hey,
Last of Us so much.
Oh, let him finish.
Go ahead.
My other hype, so over the last few days, instead of playing video games, I've been going on this weird Akira Kurosawa bender.
Ooh.
I was watching that YouTube channel, Every Frame of Painting, and he does
I
a
watched some of
video.
that stuff.
I know that.
One of his videos is about how Kurosawa is just like a master of directing like movement in his frames.
Can you send me a link to that?
Yeah, I will. It's fantastic, and I watched it like 9 times and was just fucking in love with it. So I went out and just started like getting DVDs. Like I traded in a bunch of my fucking games at GameStop and got cash and went over to Barnes and Noble. And,
Oh my
and bought
God.
these, like,
Not-
and bought these
You got
like
cash?
Yeah.
What did you trade in?
I don't want to talk about it.
You
I
went to
traded
Bar-
in- I traded
You
in
traded
stuff
in
that-
a GameStop
I traded
and
in
went
stuff.
to Barnes and Noble. That's like
Yeah.
the least amount of money
I
and
know.
the most amount of money.
I know. It was rough. But the point is, I've been watching these old like Kurosawa samurai films, like Yojimbo and Sanjuro and Throne of Blood, and now I am absolutely ready to play Neo. Like I need a fucking samurai
yes.
game now. Like I
Yes.
need one.
What is Neo?
Dude,
Neo
I'm
is
scared
March?
that game's
February.
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 Oh,
Oh,
ass.
fucking
What are your opinions on Ran?
I haven't watched Ran yet, but I'm working. Dude, I'm going through the whole thing.
The thing is, when Magnificent Seven came out,
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Brendan how that was based on the original Magnificent Seven, which was based off Seven Samurai.
Yo, Brenner.
And I was like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, hey, we should watch Seven Samurai. It's one of the best films of all time. And Brendan was like, you know what? Okay. And I was like, all right. And she's like, how long is it? And I was like, 3.5 hours. And she's like, never mind. And I was like, God damn it.
You should have just showed her the first part.
should-
Yeah,
told
that's
her.
true. I
It's
shouldn't
so
have. I should have been like
No.
an hour and a half.
You should have just lied to her.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's so good.
But she's my wife now.
7 Samurai.
So I guess lie more.
Lie to her.
Okay, so that was 2 hypes. My thank you for this week is to Naughty Dog for doing Last of Us Part 2, and my fuck you for the week goes to Naughty Dog for doing Last of Us Part 2. Fuck you for making me want that.
Fair enough.
Did you ever try the No Man's Sky update?
No.
That was your homework, man.
I think he
I
traded
haven't.
in No Man's Sky.
I actually did not.
Okay.
Oh, man.
What did you trade in? Name one horrible thing you traded in.
I didn't trade in anything horrible. I'm not saying these games were horrible. These
no.
were games
No,
that
no,
I
no, no.
wasn't...
Name
No,
something that you're ashamed for trading
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Horrible trade in. Something,
Come on.
something that cuts deep.
Well,
how much
nothing,
money-
nothing that
how
really
much
cuts
cash
deep.
you got for it?
I traded in Humankind or Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
What?
Because I was like, I'm not finishing this before the end of the year.
I mean,
Who cares
I-
about the end of the year? That's a video
yeah.
game.
That's a good game.
That
cut
game
deep
will
in
drop
bread.
in price pretty quickly.
How much
probably.
cash did you get?
$14.
All my whole trade was about $60.
How many games?
It was like 4 games.
It's not horrible.
It
worse.
was bad.
I have
could've
a
been
feeling
worse.
these
It
were
was
2016
bad. I know.
games.
Look, I know what I'm doing when I walk into a GameStop trading for cash. I know I'm getting hosed, but I needed the liquid money, like right then. You know.
Fair enough.
I know, like it's stupid. I also got rid of Dragon Quest Builders.
Oh, I didn't even know you had
Dude,
that.
I would have bought that
borrowed
for you. I would have bought that
Yeah.
from you.
I was playing it. You knew I
Leave
had
him
it.
alone, guys.
never
I didn't know
talked
you were
about
going
that on
to
the
sell
podcast.
it.
I did. There was footage and
Wait,
everything.
Brad, what are you talking? We talked about it for like 30
We
minutes.
did talk about it on a show.
Is that a show?
That was the show. Brad wasn't here. But Crispy, I would have bought that from you
I
for
would've
like
really-
$30.
That game got really good reviews.
All right.
Yeah.
He probably feels like shit.
Look,
Let's
I'm
move on.
sorry. I'm sorry. I can't explain my actions. They weren't dictated by
What did you
rationale.
buy at
I
Barnes
was
and Noble?
seized by a mania.
Kurosawa films.
He was seized by a mania.
Yeah,
okay?
I was like,
seized by a mania.
Dude is dead, man. Pirate Bay.
But I know. But the
Crispy, didn't I give you Seven Samurai?
you
Guys.
did. But then I didn't buy Seven Samurai. No. But like the thing that I do with the Criterion DVDs is I watch the movie and then I immediately rewatch it with the commentary. And the commentary on those older
That
movies is usually a film historian giving a lecture about the film, which is something I am very, very interested in. But that's just me.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I'm a fucking piece of shit scumbag.
No,
I get it.
no,
It's cool.
no.
And I fucking hate Trico. I'm a monster. I hate it.
You are the monster. You're the bird dog.
I'm the fucking bird.
He's not a monster.
I'm a
Take
monster.
that back.
He's
You
not a
take
monster.
that back.
You care more about movies than games, and that's fine.
Yeah.
What
All right,
new
Nick.
films? have
Nick,
you
bring
seen?
us home.
My hype this week is for Mass Effect Andromeda because that new footage, that actual gameplay footage they showed us, looked hot.
Honestly, I wanted more like exploration than combat. They showed
Well, I
a lot
mean,
of
they're not
combat.
going to show. Exploration isn't exciting for the mass viewer.
I'm just talking about like
Looked good.
I'm talking about like from a just a.
It was
It made
crisp.
me excited for Mass Effect again. I was like, oh my god, like it
definitely.
looked beautiful. Like the characters looked interesting. Like I was just, it was
After the
rock hard.
personal letdown for me of Mass Effect 3, I'm excited for what this one seems like it's going to have to
There's
offer.
all this new potential for that series to be good again.
All the potential to let me down again.
Yep.
You say personal letdown to be polite, but what you really mean is everyone who liked that game is stupid because it's terrible and those people should die.
Nick, what else is on your list of your 4-player minute?
Joke.
Sweats. My sweat is The Last of Us Part 2. I'm also very excited for it, but I'm also, for all the reasons we stated here, very nervous about it.
Cautiously optimistic.
Don't fuck this up, Naughty Dog. If you are going to insist on making such an
They're
unnecessary
not gonna fuck
sequel,
it up. You know
I
they're not going to fuck. They might cheapen it a little, and that's what I'm worried about.
I'm just saying, if you're going to insist on making such an unnecessary sequel, don't fuck, whatever you do, don't ruin the ending of the first one. Like, don't. I'm fucking worried, guys. No. Okay.
Neil Druckmann, little fool of himself.
My thank you goes to Team Eco for fucking sticking it out. Y'all took fucking a long time. I don't want to know what the fuck happened. I really don't. It sounds like it was a clusterfuck.
It's a miracle this game even exists.
It's a miracle the game came out. But thank you, because I do love. I've liked every game they've done so far.
Definitely.
Both of them, and I'm very excited to
They're
keep
2
going.
for 2.
2 for 2, and I am enjoying my time so far at The Last Guardian. I fucking love Bird Dog.
Guillermo del Toro once said that he's only ever played 2 great video games. One was Eco, and one was Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh yeah, he did say that. That's true. And my thank you this week, this is movie related, goes to Amazon, because I don't know if y'all saw this.
He just needs to play more video games. I mean,
I don't know if you saw this.
He really liked
What's up?
Bioshock.
What's up?
I don't know if you saw this. Amazon
Yep.
was selling the Lord of the Rings Blu-ray
I did see
trilogy.
That. Yeah.
Extended or
Extended
not?
editions, 15 disc Blu-rays,
Yeah.
what?
$26.
Yeah.
Like by mistake?
No,
Nope.
I bought 2 of them.
Can I have one?
No,
Is it still?
I will buy one from you.
one is for Robin. She already
watch your
No, she already has it. It's too late. I'm not taking it back.
Fucking
don't.
bitch.
Did you open yours?
No.
Oh, there you go.
Hey man, I've been wanting to rewatch those movies for a long time, and I was like, now's my chance.
Hey, I will say.
To watch
I've
them
act-
separately?
I've actually never-
individually from...
I've never actually seen the extended editions either.
There you go. I will say that during the Black Friday weekend, I did buy the Harry Potter collection.
That is less cool.
8-disc
but-
Blu-ray for $30.
If I didn't already own all 8 movies,
Because I don't own any of them.
That's a good deal.
I would've-
But yeah,
would've
when
done
I
that.
saw it for $30,
I was at-
with ultra like digital versions of each.
I was
movie.
at Target the other day. They have each of them separately for $10 a piece, so it's $70 to get all of them.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
80. Isn't there 8 movies? 7 books, 8 movies.
Yeah. The first 2 are $8, and then the others.
Oh,
are
okay.
10.
Anyway,
yeah,
Nick.
whatever.
yeah, that's it. That's all I got this week. So yeah, I had 2 thank yous. So I guess that's our show. I do want to mention real quick, we are going to be starting our Game of the Year content. Actually, we've already started working on it.
Yep.
One of which are, so we do our top 10 videos that we do every year. We also do our community videos, which is going to include a top 10 list as dictated by you guys, as well as a top 10 highlights of the year as voted by you guys. So our sort of viewer choice award videos. We're going to be working on those. We're going to get the polls up for you guys next week. So I would say keep an eye out on 4playernetwork.com for the details on that. Y'all will be able to go in and vote for your favorite games and your favorite highlights. And we are looking for suggestions for your favorite highlights as well. So,
what could they potentially get if they participate in these?
We are going to be drawing a winner for the people who participate and help us get these videos hashed out. We're going to be giving away a free game per one. I think one per video, right? So, if you help us, if you make a suggestion and you vote in these polls, you will be eligible to win said free video game. So, keep your eyes peeled for that. It's coming next week.
Yep.
And with that, I think it's our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next week. Talk about video games again. I don't
think there's any new games coming.
The Last Guardian for me was it. That is the 2016 is a wrap.
There is new video games,
but not
next
for me.
week.
Not for me.
There is a special Christmas level in Hitman.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I finally wrapped that up, and I also did the most recent Elusive Target. Got that.
By the way, I'm going to be playing tomorrow night on the broadcast. I'm going to broadcast tomorrow night. I think I'm going to be playing.
Is that real?
Yes, that is.
I'm going to be playing the Resident Evil 7 demo in VR on the feed tomorrow, probably for the first hour or so of my broadcast. So if you're curious about that, tune in. I'll be doing that for a while, and then I'll be playing more Dark Souls 3. So come hang out.
Cool.
Anyways, of course, thank you guys for listening. 4playernetwork.com is the website. We'll see you all next week.